She found a way into my heart. Oh, oh, she don't make out, no, she make art. And I need a way to treat it, 'cause I keep getting high off of her. Off of her. I know that you'd be bad from the minute I saw you. But somehow I keep running, running back to you. Back to you. Back to long nights can get me feeling lonely. Hey. And hearing music that can make me smile. But the way I feel with her cannot be explained. One thing still remains on my mind. I know that you'd be bad from the minute I saw you. But somehow I keep running, running back to you. Back to you. I know that you'd be bad, bad, bad. I know that you'd be bad, bad, bad. I know that you'd be bad, bad, bad. I know that you'd be bad.
Oh, how I miss the days we'd get carried away, but you had a lot to say. Enough is enough. Enough is enough. We're fighting all the time. You say I'm out of line, but this life is only mine. Enough is enough. Enough is enough. Understanding that I have to go this way is probably harder than asking me to stay. If there's a moment that you can't stand, get over ground where you can land. Enough is enough. Enough is enough. Enough is enough. ocean waves and try to come to life. Don't let go of the bright blue sky because the future's looking far too light. Are you ready for a long dive ship to set sail and carry me through the starry night? Dream of me whenever you are feeling oh so lonely. Try to leave your fears behind. We are locked in an orbit racing round the dogs of moonlit worlds that make a light. Keep your eyes on mine. Touchdown on the surface of my heart. The feeling's never gone. A brave adventurer like me remembers everywhere that I've come from. Keep your feet to the vacuum sky, cause it's surrounding us out here. Follow the trail of the stardust of the ones that came before us, and we'll see what we've always been. Dream of me whenever you are feeling oh so lonely. Try to leave your fears behind. We are locked in an orbit racing round the dogs of moonlit worlds that make a light. Keep your eyes on mine.
never dare to find if you and I didn't collide.
All I wanna do is say
Me by surprise, you brought me back to life. You didn't even have to try.
all I wanna do is say
Yeah, I'm flying away to the birds in LA and I won't be back. But I promise to you that the miles in between us will never change. The nights we stayed up, it felt our pain. Turn into love a million days. Wouldn't be enough, so I can't stay.
all I wanna do is say all I wanna do is say all I wanna do is say
Every time I say goodbye, missing you's hard to hide. But baby, it's worth the price.
all I wanna do is say
With confidence in your eyes, you've taken off my disguise. I'll never leave that
all I
behind.
wanna do is say
Yeah, I'm flying away to the birds in LA and it hurts so bad. But I promise to you that the miles in between us will never change. The nights we stayed up, it felt our pain. Turn into love a million days. Wouldn't be enough, so I can't stay.
all I wanna do is say all I wanna do is say
I wish that I could stay. Stop counting down the days. How bittersweet to say. I wish that I could stay.
all I wanna do is say
All I wanna do is stay. But nothing will ever change. The nights we stayed up, it felt our pain. Turn into love a million days. Wouldn't be enough, so I can't stay.
all I wanna do is say all I wanna do is say all I wanna do is say don't look back. I know you feel like you're losing track. I know your heart bleeds. Don't lose your mind. Just let it be, let it be. Know you're dying inside. I know it gets harder. Days get longer. But close your eyes. It's gonna be alright. I know it gets harder. Days get longer. But close your eyes. It's gonna be alright. It's gonna be alright. I know it gets harder, days get longer. Close your eyes, it's gonna be alright. I know it gets harder, days get longer. Close your eyes, it's gonna be alright. I know it gets harder, days get longer, but close your eyes, it's gonna be alright. I know it gets harder, days get longer, but close your eyes. I know it gets harder, days get longer, close your eyes, it's gonna be alright. I know it gets harder, days get longer, but close your eyes, it's gonna be alright. Close your but close your eyes, it's gonna be alright. Close your eyes, it's gonna be alright.
Don't look back when I call you, but does that mean that you're not there? Go back to when I saw you, a beautiful time in a deadly year. You think I'm stupid, but I get it now. How long can we make this go? Just hurry up and spit it out, baby, 'cause I got to know. Don't break away, 'cause I want to stay, 'cause I want to stay. Don't break away, 'cause I want to stay, 'cause I want to stay, 'cause I want to stay. Don't break away, 'cause I want to stay, 'cause I want to stay. Don't break away, 'cause I want to stay, 'cause I want to stay. I let it consume me, I let it control me. I'll always be lonely, I'll never be fine. If life is a movie, it's always so boring. Where is the story? I hope it gets better with time. Yeah, I hope it gets better with time. Yeah, I hope it gets better with time.
eyes with a deadly stare. You think I'm stupid, but I get it now. How long can we make this go? It won't hurt to let it out, baby, cause I got to know. Don't break away, cause I want to stay, cause I want to stay. Don't break away, cause I want to stay, cause I want to stay, cause I want to stay. Don't break away, cause I want to stay, cause I want to stay. Don't break away, cause I want to stay, cause I want to stay. I let it consume me, I let it control me. I'll always be lonely, I'll never be fine. If life is a movie, it's always so boring. Where is the story? I hope it gets better with time. Yeah, I hope it gets better with time. Yeah, I hope it gets better with time. Consume me, I let it control me. I'll always be lonely, I'll never be fine. If life is a movie, it's always so boring. Where is the story? I hope it gets better with time. Yeah, I hope it gets better with time. To start, I don't know where to go. I'm told I'll reap all of what I sow. These mistakes have no one else to blame. Said I could feel it when you left me here, left me here. Our emotions are one and the same. So come on over, we can persevere, persevere. So come on over, we can persevere.
Hello, everybody, and welcome as we're getting ready to go with day number 2 and week number 1 of stage number 2. God, that's a lot of identifiers to go through for North American Challengers Elite. My hold shift with me is Proper. I'm trying to wear a little bit of green. I really don't have anything green for St. Patty's Day, but at least I made an effort. Proper's just wearing red. That's like the opposite of green.
In my eyes, it could still be green. So
Wait, true.
Once you wanted a hoodie for many years, like this one right here, you know what color it actually is. But at least in my eyes, I did no harm.
That's fair. Okay, that's fair. Hey, we're getting ready to go here. We had a bit of a delay as Parasite had to reinstall the game apparently with a handful of issues, but we're taking a look at Fantastic Four going up against Wester. This is, I would say, the match of the day in my mind, mostly off the fact that Wester, it is a new Wester, but they're looking very clean, very polished. And on the same front, the Fantastic Four with Sib and Jimbo kind of finding another group of people to play with. They're also playing very well. Both of these teams currently undefeated through just 2 matches, so not exactly the greatest sample size in the world. But taking a look at what our best of 5 series set will include, some interesting things to keep in mind here, because Apocalypse and Express are not just involved, they're active for possibly competitive action here in the North American Challenger scene. That would be map number 5, the Express Search and Destroy. But to kick things off, we will get a Raid Hardpoint Moscow Search, and then a Garrison Control to kind of finish things off, at least through the first 3.
Yeah, and this Fantastic Four roster, it's always interesting because, I mean, Simba Jimbo, they always end up having another duo to end up going to help them out and along their ways. This one's sticking. I mean, for the first time since splitting away from Phantoms, I mean, Simba and Jimbo, they finally did it. They beat UT Crew. Now, that's a different UT Crew roster than what we saw through Elite 1, but still, with the likes of Standy and Dave Patty, those 2 individuals, if you were watching all of Challengers through Modern Warfare, you know that they spent a lot of time together through Triumph. Sib and Jimbo spent more than enough time together through a multitude of different titles. So when you put these 4 together, it's very interesting to see how things play out. And throughout the map set, you will end up seeing a team that has a well-oiled machine behind it and a lot of experience versus the exact same. Because Wester, you go back to Modern Warfare, this is the core 4. And Raid Hardpoint is going to be a great showcasing to see what these 2 teams have to offer.
Both teams undefeated on this map so far, though Fantastic Four does currently hold the quote-unquote crown as being the better hardpoint team between these 2 squads at the moment. So a lot to kind of vie for here. An unfortunate team nade will actually make things more interesting than you would have figured, considering that Fantastic Four were looking great in the opening. But Wester is still trying to battle up against this. The problem is the numbers have not stayed strong. And with that, Fantastic Four will get the initial pretty much bonus time here for P1.
Yeah, they are both 1-0 on this map shift, and they both beat NYSL Academy yesterday on this map mode combo. So take that for what you will. Still trying to battle past the side of Laundry. Are going to be Fantastic Four. You really want to get your way inside of P2, and well, Dave Patty's doing a great job. This is no longer EU, so the QBZ, it is here. It will be utilized. Dave's on 3 straight, 6-1 for them. The battle over by P2 spawn still in effect, but as P2 will end up coming around, Wester trying to set up shop inside the hill.
Yeah, it's going to be a 50-50 battle, just kind of Wester from the front, Fantastic Four from the back. Venom is one of the first players that would be here. Him and Zaptius would be working that together. But Standy working the outside finds 1. Dave still streaking, by the way, on 5 in a row as he doubles up. And that's an opportunity for him to start potentially working for some streaks. Would love to see him get a reload off. There you go. Trying to. Still has not gotten it. Goes in with just 9 bullets, but his teammates will pick up really most of the work for him. But a pretty flawless start so far. 58-1 the current tally, and a lot of it because Dave has locked down so many of these rotations so far.
And Fantastic Four between Sib and Dave in that little instance right there. Sib is literally hand in hand, almost handcuffed to Dave. You got to try to get this guy some streaks. I mean, in a turn, Jimbo and Sib are now on 3 in a row themselves, so the potential to play for streaks are definitely there. But his shift through the first 2 hills, it is 82-1.
Yeah.
Wester are all over the map right now. You still have Venom trying to push through open staircase. Zap just spawned over by jungle. The rotation over towards new is about to be a 2v1, potentially a 2v3, given where Fantastic Four, they just spawned in driveway.
I mean, look, I was looking at this Wester roster, kind of going back to what old Wester looked like, and going into the first stage of Elite, they were probably the best respawn team in North American Challengers. That was changed in that first stage of Elite. And here in the second stage of Elite, their hardpoint has been even, I won't say worse, but even more kind of gaping and vulnerable to instances like this. Fantastic Four, they'll finally stop. 116 straight points, essentially. They finally get broken up in Wester, their first bit of time to actually start seeing some score.
It's just absurd to see such a lead in general through 2-3 hills now. We rotate over towards the basketball court. You will see Standy try to zone away. They won't be allowed to keep their life, says Glowfrosty, utilizing the Krig 6. Now just trying to work through the middle of the map. The rotation from 3 to 4, quite a blistering one, but Western, they needed to break early.
Oh, they need more than just a break early. They need spawns. They might even just need a 5th player at this point. I mean, it's woof. I mean, this is unreal. Dave is 13-3. And with a minute 15 seconds about of hill time, and what can't he do right now? Western have not made life difficult at all for the Fantastic Four, really outside of their one break from the 3rd hard point. I mean, this is a basketball hill. It looks like we're still playing for Kitchen, for crying out loud. All of the action's happening through the middle of the map, and meanwhile, Sib's like just happy to be here, just shooting threes, just trying to pull off his best Steph Curry impersonation because no one has even challenged the hard point yet.
Yeah, I mean, Western, I see what they were trying to go for. You win that fight inside of P2, inside of Kitchen. You get the money window. You can start trying to get your players inside of basketball court for the back 30 while also trying to zone away the middle of the map. The problem is, you're not winning the gunfights. Shit, it is so convincing. I just keep on, I'm trying to look at more things on the screen. I keep on just laser focused to Dave Patty. 15-3. It just is something that just should not be happening in this 100 and about 50-point lead that Fantastic Four hold over. Standy to the Diamati. Zaptius will get the last lap, so and we'll be able to stand here. 50 seconds remaining on P5, and to say that Western needs it all, that's an understatement.
Good grief. What an absolutely perfect start to this game it has been for the Fantastic Four. Zap and Glowfrosty starting to make things interesting, and Parasite, who's up top by the statue, will actually double down at the very end. So it's a full 4-man wipe. In effect, Wester, really, again, if they can find the full 30, like you mentioned, as embarrassing as this first rotation has been, the game would still be salvageable. And it's currently looking like that could be likely, as Standy is really the only one to contest here, and he's cut down immediately. The rest of the Fantastic Four are giving up on a rotation to hill number 1 in favor of playing for an eventual P2 rotation through Kitchen and Jungle. So that means that this is going to take them a while to get into a position to really even fight up against this setup versus Wester here on the first hard point.
Well, look where Zap just spawned in, actually over by the basketball court. There was still presence from Fantastic Four over by Red, but Dave just doesn't give a damn. 21-6, excuse me, sir. 4 spree for them. Still has 2 players of Wester in front of him. Yeah, solo challenge Dave. I dare you. Yeah, nice little cleanup and finally letting it come through. But Fantastic Four, what a call. Just to give up through the middle of the map, rotate all the way through. 2 players from the driveway break in through P1. And we have a full-on reset of how it looked through the first set of hills. The only difference is that Fantastic Four, they're past the 200-point margin.
Well, all the things I was hoping to kind of speak into existence for Wester have gone completely out the window.
They sure have.
I mean,
they really have.
It was a very interesting decision, though, for the Fantastic Four, I think, just to run all the way through the pool side, not even fight for statue. But regardless of that, they do find themselves up by 150 points.
Well, they have the score to do it, right? I mean, you got the score just to make such a wild play. You might as well. Screw it. You got the initial time on P2 as well. So now Wester is just waiting for the respawns maybe to make their way across the pool side. At least Parasite's going to be able to take down Standy, but you got to get inside this hill.
All right. Well, Sib holding things down. Weird to say he's only 8-12, but he's got nearly 2.5 minutes worth of hill time in it. Wester have been able to get through the front doors of Kitchen, though. Parasite will actually be the first contestant up. QBZ finds the first kill. Glowfrosty keeping him safe from behind. And Wester are continuing to actually reinforce very nicely through the middle of the map. Even turning around for Jimbo, not going to be required as Zaptius is able to find that elimination. So Wester are stretching and hoping they can get out of the 100-point club. Not necessarily a guarantee as of yet, as there will be 15 seconds to play for, and it looks like there will still be Fantastic Four spawns in the back, which will mean that Wester should be able to get a free look at the initial time at Garage.
That extra 8 seconds, you're definitely going to be feeling that burn more or less. Everything through that first set of hills up to this very moment, you're going to be feeling Standy. It's going to be down to 5 HP. And you got some help to threaten P3 already. The initial time is here. Wester, they got to have these 2 players count.
Well, Venom finds 2. And if there would ever be a way that Wester get back into this game, you would feel like it would have to be from Zaptius and Venom, just kind of finding a way to get these SMGs going. Not to sit there and say that Glowfrosty and Parasite haven't been playing well, but you need to pick up the speed and the tempo and make life just more difficult for Fantastic Four setups. Well, Jimbo and Sib find the first 2 kills. Sib going to get help from Dave to get the third, which means there's only 1 player left. It's Zaptius. He will get out of the hard point, wait for a little bit of help, but he realizes, wait a second, I can only give away 9 more seconds, so I have to challenge that. And as he does, he falls. And Fantastic Four should be in the home stretch here of this raid, including Jimbo just locking things down with the Diamatti. Oh my goodness, what a blowout. 250, 119 the first here on raid hardpoint.
Right, they were past 100 points going into P3. They were past 200 points going inside a second set of hills. That's, wow.
Yeah, wow.
You know, DreamWorks wouldn't be able to build up a better fairy tale than what I just saw happen. That was wild. Because, yeah, I mean, keep in mind, this Fantastic Four roster, I'm just trying to think off the top of my head, like, realistically, how much time do they have to practice as a core four? Same for Wester.
That's fair.
Given how things have been going with Glowfrosty in and out of NYSL, Zaptius in and out of Wester, Parasite, Luna Ravens now back with Wester. But Fantastic Four, again, they're just that. They're fantastic. The way that they are just commanding throughout the entirety of the map. This meta suits them, especially for a player like Dave. We've been able to see them with an AR. I've been able to see them do it with an SMG, put a QBZ in their hands. Yeah, they're going to go AWOL. That allows Sib and Jimbo to play their role. And, well, Sib's current role is just putting their legs up on a hard point, just soaking up time. If they get a gunfight coming their way, they got to win it. But, I mean, Dave, Sandy, and Jimbo, I mean, just relentless through that map. Wester had no answer.
I was going to say, like, yes, all 4 are very much so fantastic, but this was the origin story of Dave Patty. He had his own spotlight for this comic book universe. I don't even know. I was going to try to make some kind of Cold War comic book universe out of thin air, but you know me, I'm not very well versed.
This is a graphic novel, brother. That was disgusting.
Emphasis on the graphic portion of that, I think, more than anything else. But hey, Fantastic Four, you know, again, through their 4 hard points that they've played, they win an average of 55 points, and that includes a 2-2 overall hardpoint record. So their wins are extraordinary and their losses are marginal is really the storyline you can take away from that. But with that in mind, we need to look forward because we're going into the Search and Destroy coming up next here. It will be played on Moscow, and that's good news, I think, for Wester fans overall because they're 2-0 on the map so far, and with that, they've looked really good in both the instances. A 6-3 win versus Higher and a 6-2 dominating win versus NYSL Academy yesterday that we were able to cover.
Yeah, and altogether through all 3 Search and Destroys they have played, they have not dropped a single one of them. Their most threatening was actually on the Moscow hardpoint when they went to round number 9. Again, not take that as you will, very loose threatening terms, but I mean the Fantastic Four for Search and Destroy, they are currently sitting at 2-1 overall, but even still going for Moscow, they are 1-0. Went to a round 11, I believe that was against NYSL Academy, but even still, I think that this Western roster has a lot cut out for them because again, we are in a QBZ meta for North America Challengers, and when you're thinking about the elusiveness that is the meta of Moscow Search and Destroy, how a lot of players are moving their way over towards the B site, you get that QBZ to really funnel out either the jump up inside of the apartment window or inside the cutout wall. The middle of the map is then taken away. That cuts out the rotation. You're then relying on an AR player to really make their presence defensively over by the boulevard. If that doesn't come through, I mean, an offensive team, especially for the break caliber that we saw from Fantastic Four, are just going to have their way through this map.
This is going to be real. I think this is going to be interesting to see like what the setups are going to look like because both teams should have some pretty steep advantages in certain ways. We could talk about advantages pretty much all day long when it comes to these 4 players on either team, what they're going to be likely running. The fact of the matter is you're still dealing with a couple of squads that are getting familiar with one another in the scheme of playing this game. Obviously, there's a lot of experience between all 4 of these guys, no matter which team's perspective you're looking at. But specifically, I think it's just down to in this exact moment, how much rehearsal you've been able to get. Now, that kind of said, is there, I think, the ability for these teams to kind of rely on an individual just making a play call and then trying to make a play? I think absolutely yes. It just comes down to how much is really going to be coordinated because one of the things that we notice a lot about a Moscow Search and Destroy is the mid-round adaptations typically win or lose you around. Because like you mentioned, we're out of the world of our SMGs are just going to full flood through Eskies every single round. We're going to see who comes out on top of the trades. That doesn't really largely exist anymore. Like you had mentioned, it's a lot of setups trying to go over towards the B, work the other side of the bomb site, other side of the map completely. And it comes down to, okay, this is what the first 45 seconds looked like. What are we actually going to do to commit? Because there's no such thing as a bull rush into B. It just doesn't exist offensively. So I'm just interested, I think, to see what these teams are going to do after that 45-second mark has already come and gone. Because that's where I feel like a lot of these rounds will be won or lost for this particular search.
Well, I mean, even fundamentally for search and destroy, once you get down to that specific point marker, you are committed to a site. It is very rare that if you are down to about 30 seconds remaining in the round, that if you can cleanly rotate with the bomb out of courtyard, up the escalators over towards A, and there's somehow just not an AR or an SMG player over by the cutout wall watching that rotation, then by all means, hats off to you. You probably have a numbers advantage. But typically, when it comes down to that specific moment, even as small as the map is Moscow for a rotation comparatively to Miami, you are committed. You are going to go towards that site. And it's going to come down to those playmakers. Those opportunities got to present themselves. And the setup's got to be there to keep in mind you. And when you're going for that Western roster, you were already talking about this during the raid hardpoint shift, that if you want to see a player, or two rather, be enabled for these plays to really come on through, you can't look any further besides Venom and Zap.
All I can look at right now is you in the form of expressionist artist Monet's depiction.
I'm stuck. Someone send some help. I didn't bring enough water.
Dude.
It's cold in here.
Sorry. Oh, I love it, dude. We love OBS Ninja. It's a perfect piece of programming, that's for sure. I'm just like I'm hoping I get to see like you kind of like in the picture of like what Monet would just expressionlessly paint you as, because that's exactly what I got right there. Kind of looked like the Scream, not gonna lie. But we're getting ready to go here into the Moscow Search and Destroy. Fantastic Four currently up and joining us here late. Other things going on right now. New York Subways Academy are up 2-0 versus Easter. Two close maps as well. Built by Gamers also up 2-1 over UT Crew. And then Aerial Arise and Higher are tied up 1-1, just to kind of give you an idea as far as what's going on. But back into the action on screen. Fantastic Four currently a triple stack over the middle of the map. And I don't believe Jimbo actually saw any information through the benches alley. I believe Wester did, though. And it comes down to how will they maybe try to isolate these players that are sitting inside of that mid-metro, because that is going to make life difficult, not only to get to B, but there really is no option to rotate over to A.
And you know, Standy probably heard that flash that bounced off the wall, and Jimbo's in a great spot to read this cross. Sib will be there with the QBZ to be able to find 2 kills. The trade will eventually come through, but that's more than enough information for Fantastic Four to rotate on over.
Wow.
Just Parasite left in a 1v3.
I love it. I love the setup from Fantastic Four. Sib just essentially rotates over from A, gets into the apartment windows, takes down 2, and Jimbo says, yeah, it's good enough. I'll just go ahead and push out towards the tree. And again, it's just one of those things that if you don't get that information from Wester's POV that Fantastic Four are stacked mid, or if you don't know how many or where exactly they're positioned, it's very difficult to commit to going over to B, because what you normally see is someone watching that cross from cutout. And then if there's help to make sure there is no push through, I just don't know what you do there if you're Western. Well, they didn't seem to have an answer either. So Fantastic Four gets the first round defensively, and now it's up to what they want to do on the attack.
Would expect nothing but just a sheer bit of mid-aggression coming out from Fantastic Four. Parasite, it's got to be able to get a bit of information. And we'll throw a Semtex, and I believe that they might have heard a slide or something, because they got it the heck out of dodge very quickly.
Still mid-map pressure. Fantastic Four definitely making this look like a premeditated setup for what they wanted to do here versus Wester. But you look at those blue arrows, 3 of them are playing pretty passively through mid and leaning towards B, which is where this attempt seems to be kind of stacking towards. Dave will be responsible for trying to clear out the back street. It's him versus Venom if the gunfight does unfold, but it's actually Parasite with an SMG off the rip here. He will be inside. Did not expect Sib, who finds 2, and Venom with an SMG cannot take down Dave, so now it's up to Zap for a 1v3. See the bomb on your map rotating over to A. Zap might be able to catch 1 isolated here if he looks to his left, which now he'll have to as he gets tagged up from behind. But the problem here is the bomb is planted, and he has not found a way to even get any shots off, let alone any kills.
Gonna have to be able to find the first on the Dave. They're just gonna give it up, just trying to clear all these corners. 1v3, 74U in hand. I imagine that this might just be a trade about to ensue inside of green. Almost had them lined up. A Fantastic Four, again, just so decisive, so quick. Again, it came through the middle of the map. Early aggression. Parasite heard something. They threw a Semtex, got a flak jacket, pulled all the way back towards Square, where you just saw Glowfrosty die. And Sib through 2 different rounds are good for 2 kills. And again, 4v4, that's after your team gone by 1 individual of Sib. That only makes the job so much easier for Fantastic Four. And Wester, through those 2 rounds, have collectively found themselves 2 kills. Going in towards another offense, you just hope that you might be able to pull something out. And, well, they're going to go back to the old strategy shift. Just go ahead and run straight at A.
Yeah, but take a look to be defensively. All 4 members are here. 1 for 1 initially. Venom is able to take down 2. keeping the play alive. Are they going to expect that there are more defensive players here, though? The question apparently yes, as Standy was only good for one, leaves Sib down to a 1v2 situation. He's averaged 2 kills per round so far. No Zappas in the corner, but can't get the shots to lock down, and Wester, with their aggression, does find a successful offense in round number 3.
Yeah, so this could be where Wester might be able to find their value. You get Venom and Zap, who through the beginning of Cold War, when there was a Wester 1.0 in Cold War season, that was when they looked the best. 2 SMGs, finding trades, doubling up, double challenging everything together. That as long as Glowfrosty and Haggy hold their backs, look over their shoulders, that should be a very convincing gunfight. But Fantastic Four probably won't be able to let that go a second time, given that they were also all 4 there collectively. Just trades in the better part for Wester, but now Fantastic Four back to their old ways here. Shift. They want the middle of the map, but it could open up in a rotation. Parasite again in the cutout wall could read this.
And he does have help. It's Glowfrosty behind him at the moment, but these are the only players that are here towards B. And you got to be careful here, Parasite. That QBZ will melt. Double Semtex comes out, and ooh, Fantastic Four will read that, saying, okay, it's 2 explosives out of their back pockets. Can we maybe find a way to use this against them? And, well, Dave will be able to pick up Parasite stuck in the corner. And again, with mid-map pressure galore, Fantastic Four, they've got the luxury of being able to make the easy decision between, do we want to go B? Do we want to go A? It's going to be A, and there's nobody here defensively from Wester.
They're still trying to clear out all of these different spots, and Wester didn't see a push through, so they're going to try to flood through the bulletin board. Going to try to contest this. Phone ringing. Bomb will be planted. Well, Wester just waiting for the confirmation for a retake. And there it goes. And that was awesome. If you go back and you watch the beginning of the round for Fantastic Four, they waited inside of Metro for Dave to flank through Gold, through the doggy door, over by Boulevard, cleared out the back bus, over by Police, and then made the cross over by Globe for that first blood on a Parasite. That's the one player next to Glowfrosty that could have shut down all of that push to the middle of the map. By the time the rotation came through for Wester, they were all inside of P2. Fantastic Four had the numbers. They just rotated off the Eskies.
Is what we're watching right now for Fantastic Four is not anything that we have not seen before in Cold War. But with the volatility that has been going on in the NA Challenger scene, with roster swaps, people getting picked up, moved around when it comes to the CDL, this Fantastic Four squad looks like a team that like played Grand Final Stage 1 and stuck together. Like, they are looking so prepared. Sib this time, though, defensively caught out by the Globe, will fall for first blood, and beautiful shots from Venom. So, okay, hold on a second. Opportunity starting to brew here for Wester, and Dave really can't challenge this, but he stays a little bit overwhelmed and does get punished by a Semtex, leaving things to a 1v4 for Standy. Opportunity maybe to deny the bomb plant. It just comes down to, can he find a kill and get away with his life? There's number 1. Wanted to go for the toe tags, but a second defender was there to keep him safe, and that will be enough for Wester to get a second round on the board.
Breathing room. That's what these rounds mostly mean for Wester. Jay, just trying to find what works. Again, what makes a championship caliber team is not only having a good search and destroy, but what are those key fundamentals? It's those mid-round, mid-map adaptations. These 4 players for Wester, they are no slouches to be able to showcasing just that across the many different teams that they've played throughout all of their 10 years of Call of Duty and many different titles. But again, like you said, I mean, this Fantastic Four, it just seems that they have blind trust of a team that's been playing for a solid year. Here comes Wester, aggressive defense setup. Fantastic Four, they slow up the pace so much. Wester are going to be a little confused as things, but Sandy's going to eat a stun. But still, Fantastic Four, they just want the info.
You know, one of the conversation points that I feel like is not utilized very much when it comes to Call of Duty Search and Destroy is baiting out all your informational tools, all your utility. That stuns and semtexes that Fantastic Four have kind of depleted out of Wester's inventory, which will eventually mean that taking a site will be made just a slight bit more easier, but I think more importantly, trying to keep Wester's retake at bay will be that much easier without the threat of any incoming nades. I mean, you saw the semtexes from a couple rounds ago. That was through the middle of the map. This time, Wester kind of conditioned to be watching for aggression, throws out early stuns and semtexes, including that from Venom. And that's just, again, an inventory advantage when it comes down to Fantastic Four. 25 seconds to play.
Resource advantage theirs. Time, not so much. Bomb carrier for Jimbo. They want to rotate up towards A. Initial defense will be Parasite. They'll shut that down. So the bombs drop. Sandy's got to get this trade.
Well, Parasite gets another. He's on 3 in a row all of a sudden. Everything comes down to Dave. Gets a first kill. Time will be a problem as he would not have enough to plant, so he would have had to find both kills. Not going to happen here. So Fantastic Four, they slow things up in 2 straight rounds, and honestly, to be spoken, they get punished for it both times around. Wester just kind of locking up the lanes, and I'll say this much, they're not just playing traditionally, they're just kind of holding and making sure they can play for one another. I mean, the trades have been great compared to the first couple of rounds.
I'm sitting here chuckling. You will probably laugh at this, and anybody else that probably did banned in any of its forms will probably laugh at this too. The best teams and some of the best music. Sometimes it's played faster, and that may be where the BPM is located at. But if you can't slow it down, you can't perfect it there. Things might get a little ugly later on down the road. Fantastic Four are only good at playing it fast so far. And Wester is starting to adapt to it. We'll have to see if things continue on that route. But Fantastic Four are back to the middle of the map.
Yep.
Not allowing Wester to get here cleanly, but it's Wester this time around that have slowed up the pace considerably, just waiting for the info. Venom spots 2 to the middle.
Copy-paste defensive setup as round 2 for Fantastic Four. But Wester not going to get picked up by this time. Shots from Glowfrosty, just throwing them in the direction of Sib. Dave also getting a read that there is some jump peeking going on. Semtex will tag him. He cannot defend this A side anymore. And Jimbo's going to get caught trying to make a play through Eskies. Not exactly the most coordinated moment we've seen from Fantastic Four thus far. Leads to an opportunity for Wester to get on, but Sib has snuck right where Jimbo had previously fallen. And an opportunity to reclaim this A site with 30 seconds to play, and the bomb dropped over by the brick Hetty. Zaptius, though, makes things a little bit more favorable for Wester in the numbers department as we got a 3v1. Standy, lots of information, but unfortunately cannot capitalize to find any kills. And that's, 3 rounds in a row for Wester. They're up now 4-3 for the first time.
Yeah, and again, those mid-map adaptations are really showcasing for Wester. And I totally get why Jimbo quickly barged up the escalators, but at the timing of the round, you got to understand that the Semtex already came through. A couple seconds already had gone by the time you pushed up Metro, that the team of Wester more than likely was already covering that entire spot. Jimbo gets first blood, is trying to help out their comrade that got Semtex out of that brick Hetty. And although the bomb was dropped, Wester just flooding into the site, recognizing that there was no immediate pressure over by the A site nor mid-map. We're able to influence with numbers and be able to find the trades. 3 straight, both for Zap and Parasite. 6-5 for Venom and Zap, respectfully. Fantastic Four, they want this A site quickly.
Yeah, it's back to speed and violence and momentum and other Dr. Disrespect things here. But immediate change of plans. Aggression coming out, and I have to imagine that a lot of that was scouted by Wester. You saw an exchange of utility coming through, but Fantastic Four bail immediately in full commit to get the bomb planted early on B, but the big first kill for Glowfrosty. Team shots going the direction of Dave. He eventually falls. So now an opportunity for Wester to possibly go 4 rounds in a row. Venom does not actually see. We have a Jimbo who is laying prone, and neither does Glowfrosty. Oh, but he misses the full sets of shots. Oh, it's so tough. Honestly speaking, Jimbo needed to kill the player on the bomb first, but he was trying to double down, gets caught. It's 4 rounds in a row for Wester.
It was like a deer in headlights situation there for Jimbo. You can go inside the room. You're like, see, 1 on the bomb, 1 over top of the bomb, 1 to your right. Which one do I shoot at first? I'm just going to try to shoot everybody at the same time. At the same dang time. Doesn't go in their favor, of course, but I like the pump fake, though. You go march straight to the gates of the A site, throw most of your utility, and then quickly beeline down the escalators. There was no player in the immediate rotation, so they were able to rotate over towards the B site, but they just could not hold on to it. Parasite with a quick rotation now finds themselves on 4 straight through multiple rounds. And Wester, you were talking about 4 rounds in a row for them. Fantastic Four, they got to find an answer here. And we're almost expecting an A push to come on out, but Wester, they're just playing for information. Glowfrosty's the one carrying the bomb this time, and they're solely over by the boulevard.
Semtex will just barely not connect on the Dave. It was really well placed. But even with that, Wester are not at all looking to go towards this A site, at least not initially. Glowfrosty with the bomb still lingering over towards the boulevard, which would mean that Wester eventually will have to join him. And the only real thing standing in their way would be Jimbo on this mid cutout. He's got an SMG, so even if he scouts out Glowfrosty, he can't stay here. And tag down to 33 HP, now he has to give up. He doesn't really see how many members are in the middle of the map. And just seeing Glowfrosty wouldn't normally be enough to sit there and say, yeah, he's got the bomb, they're coming B. So Fantastic Four are a little bit all over the map, but Standy's able to make things just a touch easier as he does find first blood and a second. Has a third around the corner. No, it's Venom to find the trade. And now Wester have to get onto the A site. Dave Petty trying to watch from a back corner. Time becoming a huge issue. And Venom cannot capitalize a kill on the Sib. Dave good for one. Now you have to play for kills if you're Venom. Dave outside the map tries to finesse it, but it'll be Fantastic Four staying alive, extending this map a touch longer.
Just exhausting the clock. And I like that play coming out from Fantastic Four, just saying, you guys want to play for the information? We won't give you much of anything at all. Maybe a little bit of util here and there, but all of this back and forth gave Sandy the opportunity to be able to make this play happen. They just slow rolled their way on the opposite side of the escalators. By the time that the push came up, Wester thought that side was clear. Good for 2 kills, almost for that third that you were calling. And, well, that really flips the entire play back on its head. Allen towards a round 10 to see if Fantastic Four can stretch this that much further. They stopped any sort of momentum you would think that Wester might have held through those 4 rounds in sequence. But Wester, they're still feeling themselves. They're pushing through the middle of the map. 4 players strong. Fantastic Four, however, they slow things down again, just waiting to see if there's an unforced error to come out.
Yeah, and to be fair, Wester should be feeling pretty lucky that there wasn't an A hit coming out, because trying to check that by going through Reskies is by no means safe. Team shots coming through from Globe from Fantastic Four over towards the cutout window. It's enough to push some Wester members back, but Fantastic Four are committing. And Venom is just here to throw shoulders. You see number 3 on your minimap is Glowfrost. He's pulling up by police, and Venom gets the information. So now the defense should rotate. But number 7, Standy, he's lurking by A, and he finds first blood. That's going to make life very difficult for a Wester retake, because you always have to be worried about what Standy's doing on the map.
You're just confused now. You can see player number 4, Parasite's trying to find where Standy is. Standy is already over by the apartments. Now going to try to cover their flank. Wester going to break inside here. They got 28 seconds to do so.
That's a little bit easier said than done, although Glowfrosty and Parasite make life a bit more manageable, but it just comes down to Chris for a 1v2 situation. He's going to try to stick this. That was bold, to say the least. And it will not work out. So 5-5 into the round 11 we go after what was 4 rounds in a row, 5 rounds in a row for Wester. It's Fantastic Four in the bounce back to send us to this round 11.
Heck, he's just like, yeah, I remember this in scrims. This worked versus Seattle. I'm sure it's going to work here.
Check yourself before you wreck yourself.
Chickadee, check yourself. All right, anyway. But yeah, I mean, a nice little 2-round bounce back. Like you were talking about, Wester 4 rounds in a row. That is deep trenches for Fantastic Four to pull themselves out of. Given how, if you give any of these Wester players a moment to vibe and feel themselves, they can really run away with any map mode. But Fantastic Four, fast and furious, over towards the A side. 2 players here defensively.
Looks very familiar, doesn't it? They just completely bail out again. Zaptius, though, this time is ready to read this. Does he get away with his life? Yes, he does, but it's going to be challenged. Does he have any help to get here? Now it is. It's Venom who's able to come back through and respond, and Fantastic Four, like a ping pong ball, going back and forth between both of the sides, right back over the net into A. And Wester, they've done well to recover and make sure that Fantastic Four continue to be fluid like water, and this comes down to, can you get the oil into the water here and try to disrupt this play?
Here comes the potential retake. Venom's good for 1. Quick trades, however. 38 seconds. The bomb does not have to be dropped. Not quite yet, but in a 2v3 situation, you know that Wester, they would much rather wait for the bomb to be planted and for the pinch to come through. Chris is on the flank.
Zaptius still takes down Sib. That's no plan. Almost snaps onto Standy. 1v2 for Parasite. Bomb is still down. Parasite trying to wait for the play. Dave walks into his line of sight, but he tries to escape down Eskies. And as he does, the kill comes quickly to follow. Fantastic Four with, 3 rounds in a row. Take the round 11, and that puts them up 2-0 in the series versus Wester.
And that is a very big 2-0 in that series. Fantastic Four, they come back. Twice they've played it now through Elite Stage 2, and they go round 11 both times, and they make it to Moscow Search and Destroy, and they win it against 2 very strong teams. Your grand final teams, if you want to look at it that manner. Again,
yeah, true.
Different rosters, but I mean, NYSL Academy and Wester both fall to Fantastic Four on Search and Destroy Moscow. I mean, going in towards this Garrison control, I'm not going to lie, I'm worried. Because, I mean, this Wester roster, You would go back to when you were looking at them at the beginning of the season when you still had their core four when they started off Cold War. Any control map, that's perfectly fine. But going inside control, you got to have the blind trust. You got to be able to play fast, and you got to be able to find the kills. Then deny the map away from your team. We have not seen that from Wester through 2 different map modes now. And again, to go back to the nice little narrative that you built, this 4-player team of Fantastic Four, they look like that they've been playing since Champs of Black Ops 4. They have so much faith in each other the way that they're playing throughout these maps. It is clinical.
Look, they have, I would say, arguably, just off paper, the hardest opening schedule out there. You
Yeah.
have to go through NYSL Academy, UT Crew, and Wester. Those are your top 3 finishers from just this last stage. And then they've got Easter after this, who's looking pretty nasty as well. So there is no break here, it feels like, for Fantastic Four, but maybe they don't need one, because 2-0 up in the series. We'll take a look back at this best of 5 series set. And as far as where are we going to be heading to next, it'll be a Garrison control. Both teams actually playing very well in the Garrison control. Fantastic Four beating both UT Crew and the New York Subliners Academy roster there from yesterday. But on the other hand, for Wester, they also beat higher here in their first matchup. So both teams have shown some success here on control. The only real kind of negative to spin here is the fact that Wester has to win this map in order to even start a potential reverse sweep.
Yeah, and well, you said the point right there. You got to win this map to start a reverse sweep, to send it to a checkmate hardpoint.
Yeah.
And then potentially that Express Search and Destroy. And I'm with you, Wester. I too would love to be able to see the Express Search and Destroy, but
Same.
the way that this Fantastic Four squad is playing, I think we might have to just probably pump the brakes a little bit, because when you think about Garrison control, teams are really starting to figure out how offensive rounds have won. And you know as well as I do, how is that typically going to end up coming through? We actually saw this happen a handful of times in EU. You can get aggressive off the early goings, get top green away. Always pressure out that area, always pressure out Cobble. That as long as you have players threatening the B zone while you still have that one lingering player, if not 2, threatening the A zone, your SMGs, if they can get in there, like what we've seen from Standy and Jimbo,
For real.
and if Dave Patty continues to fry with the QBZ, that pace has to be met by Wester. If it's not, this is going to get bloody fast.
You know, it's just really interesting because M4GA, instant incorporation of the QBZ. And let's be honest, the reason that the M4 is GA'd in the first place is to force more Krig to show up. The QBZ, I feel like a lot of teams have recognized on these smaller maps that it's essentially the same weapon. We can still play as fast as we normally would. I mean, you're seeing main AR players like Low Frosty and Parasite normally. They're starting to try to play a little bit on that slower side, whereas someone like Dave is sitting there saying, nah, that gun's not as good at range. I want to get aggressive with this thing, and he's finding so much success with it. It's been really interesting, I think, to see what is going to be the successful play style. And similar concerns for the New York Subliners Academy roster, but they are currently up 2-0 versus Easter in 2 very tight maps. Other updates built by gamers have 3-1 UT Crew. And I'll be honest, outside of map number 1, it wasn't even close. And then over on the other side, for Higher versus Aerial Arise, it's Higher who now hold an edge 2-1 over Aerial Arise, going into what will be a Garrison hardpoint, it looks like. So just those are things going on simultaneously. I imagine the mainstream is probably going to be picking up probably that matchup, I would have to figure. So if you're looking for that match, you can find it on youtube.com/COD Challengers. But for us, we head right on into the map 3 control on Garrison. And with that, it's a Parasite first blood to get us started.
Wester offense, got to get the middle of the map. You got to win these gunfights convincingly. It is so tough to be able to come back from an offensive round if you do not win the opening break-off convincingly. And well, Wester, they still have presence in the middle of the map, but Jimbo looks so upset that as they take down Venom.
And again, it's just one of those things that for Wester's POV, at what point do you feel like you've got the success to get out of the zone, especially when you've got Fantastic Four continuing to put pressure through the middle of the map in one form or another? This time it's actually from top green. Standy tries to fly on out, Dave trying to do the same, and it will be a 1-for-1 exchange until Dave tries to play it from the bridge, and that will mean that Fantastic Four defense will be pretty solid so far. Just 25 seconds to go.
25 seconds to try to stop this clock, try to find these kills. Lives are still even. But it's about finding the right kills. It's about finding the opportunity to try to stop the clock, of which Wester has not been able to. Not at all. Zapti is going to try to touch, takes down Dave, so the clock's going to be stalled at 15.
This comes down to, can you get some good clearance here? Because Jimbo up top doesn't really have to do much but play his life. You can see those Wester arrows keep turning around looking for him, and well, as they do, the Fantastic Four come out of spawn. find themselves elimination. Jimbo tagging Zap down low. He'll pass the baton over to Glowfrosty to get into the control point. Second tick of progress halfway done. Working on it here, but Dave Jimbo, couple of kills. That'll be enough to start depleting. One more contest potentially here, but Zaptius knows he has to value his life more than anything else, but will not be allowed to, as the defense will recover and retake the B zone. Desperate measures now for Wester, and it does not look all that positive, does it? No one's going to touch in time in Fantastic Four. Pretty cruise control through their first defense.
Well, about a 4-life lead there for Fantastic Four. We'll keep that in mind if it ends up going the distance, and I'll try to keep you updated as the rounds end up coming down to it in case we do need that 4-round 5. But the way that it works for Garrison control, at least in my opinion, I know many others feel that way, that whoever wins the first offense typically walks away with the map.
That's true.
We saw what happened from Wester's perspective. They walked away with an offense where they only got a single tick of progress onto B. They were finding kills, yes, but if you don't find a significant amount of kills, I'm talking at least a 3-for-1 trade here, baby. You got to get on top of that B zone, but it was just never there for Wester. Fantastic Four were always recycling out power positions after power positions, but now can they set some magic ablaze here on their offense?
Again, this is a team that's 2-0 on this Garrison control overall. Team kill will be forced by Parasite, who had Jimbo down to about a bullet. Venom playing through the vent will make sure there's clearance of the B zone. So Standy will be the last player left alive. He is on 4 in a row, but he's going to have to try to play for streaks solo. What in the world? What in the... Whoa. Someone lathered this boy up with some Vaseline. He was sliding all over the place, but that will eventually be Wester recovering.
This is a well-oiled individual. Jesus. Still trying to work their way inside of the zone, trying to find any bit of contest would be great. A tick of progress, maybe, but Wester, they bounce on back. Down to 50 seconds. That was actually a lot of clock that had been stalled out for Fantastic Four. So Wester, they can't overextend here. A couple of spawn kills would be great, but where they're holding for the time being is more than enough. Shift. Fantastic Four, they got to get through them through Wester before they can touch the zone.
Yeah, really good setup here from Wester overall. You've got both SMGs just kind of being a nuisance in the middle of the map. The ARs trying to watch over the top of them. Glowfrosty making life a bit easier as Sib drops. Dave and Standy trying to isolate, eventually get the elimination, but now the SMGs are back off respawn. 20 seconds to go here. Double Semtexes are good for a first kill onto Jimbo. And it's going to have to be a special play from somebody, and why not Standy to come on through and try to be that player? Him and Jimbo able to work for 1 kill. That'll alleviate pressure through lights, and with a trophy system down, the recovery here from Wester is going to be hard pushed because you've got a 3-man stack over towards B, but Dave the entire time was playing onto the A zone, finds himself 5 kills. I'm sure would love to play his life for streaks, and he gets number 6. 1 more kill required, and help has been gotten here, but a Semtex will eliminate him off the streaks, but an extra 60 Cluckins. Is that how chickens keep time? That's going to be extra 60 seconds on the clock as the B zone gets completed.
How much time you got until you lay the next echo? At least 50 Cluckins. Please hold, I'll meet you at the firm. Okay. 1 tick of progress over towards A. Less than 60 seconds, but still an opportunity presenting itself. I mean, life lead for Fantastic Four. You got players threatening inside their spawn and towards bricks. You got more than enough time to slow this down. It really whittled down the respawns for Fantastic Four. It doesn't have to be this push, but at least in the next 30 seconds, you would love some presence on the zone.
Great help. They do have a nice setup here coming forward through the inside of Cobble. But Venom is going to be trying to work with Glowfrosty to try to keep this zone safe. Sib gets caught. Good first kill, not a second. So now numbers prevail for Fantastic Four, but can they actually get onto the zone with those numbers is the real question. And so far, it was just Dave to be that player to make the play. 5 lives remaining for Wester, and they're holding pretty solidly through the back alley. Individual mindset from Sib as he tries to rush forward, not going to be successful. Bit of miscommunication there between him and Standy. You have to feel like it's going to be a 4 playing up against 5, but the clock might be the biggest opponent here for Fantastic Four. Just down to 5 seconds. They're trying to work through lights. And my goodness, no one's going to get here in time. That just kind of felt like they were just trying to play for those kills at the end, not really even play for the objective.
Yeah, and that comes down, you always hear us talk about, many casters, many analysts, all the way up to the CDL, they'll talk about these win conditions, and it's about recognizing these win conditions and then executing on said win conditions. Yes, the life lead was there. That is information that all players have at all times when you're playing control, but it's the elusiveness that you have for the opportunity. 2 ticks of progress of what Wester had to play with. And they played it wonderfully. A little game of cat and mouse. They just could not lock down the kills in time. Western were just holding the space. Fantastic Four were trying to work their way in. Every single time that they had an open opportunity to potentially find a kill, that cross angle was being held. Western did a great job of just really slowing down the pace, recognizing what they had to do.
13-7 for Dave, 13-9 for Standy, 12-8 for Jimbo. And I was about to mention Sid, but he's able to find first blood in this round, trying to improve his stat line. Will only get one of what would have been nice to have two. Glow Frosty still staying hot. 3 in a row for him. And Wester have a number of players that are working for potential streaks. First tick of progress has been confirmed. Standy doesn't want to let a second one go, but as he shoulders, he recognizes that he cannot challenge, not yet. Tries to play around the back. Will this pinch be picked up? The answer, no. 2 for 2 exchange. 60 seconds to play in the clock, and Wester have lost some of that opening control over towards this B zone.
First tick of progress is here. Clock is still being stopped. Big opportunity. Dave from underneath the vents is going to be able to take down Zap, but a trade is going to be good. Wester are going to be able to find the kills, maybe, but Jimbo through the middle of the map is going to be able to find the trades necessary. And again, Wester off the break comparatively to their last offense. No holds barred. They get aggressive, and it works out in their favor, but they can't hold on. Now staring down the barrel with 40 seconds left. You need these kills. You would love to be able to capture your zone off this push.
But Jimbo from behind foils any plans of doing that from the platform or caution area. Venom on the opposite side of the map is trying to make life difficult for Fantastic Four off spawn, but recognizes that he's way too by himself, so he'll try to stall the clock while he lets some hopeful opportunities come through for his teammates to get out of spawn. Jimbo, how are you still alive? Goodness, 5 kills in a row for him. Could not get the pistol to work for a 6th. Then long-range shots from Sib are good for a double. So a life advantage here for Fantastic Four overall, and the pressure continues to amount inside the spawns of Wester. That will once again likely mean there will not be enough time for Wester to touch his zone, let alone trying to extend it by an extra 60 seconds. Although there was one small touch for a moment, maybe you thought it was possible, but will not occur here. It's been all defense through 3.
And it's still Fantastic Four with a slight life lead as far as or a slight kill lead. I believe it's still +2 for them at this current juncture of time, given how the last offense came to a fumbling conclusion in Wester's favor. But still, if this continues to go defense for defense, if this is from Fantastic Four's perspective, whether they have calculators on their lap open up their desktop or not, they got to be aware of this. If they do hold a kill lead, that if this does go defense for defense, they should feel okay that they just have to walk away with a kill lead in this round. Of course, he would love to be able to close in an offensive round. Getting aggressive through the middle of the map, would love to be able to find these kills. A lot of exchange via Semtex, but Parasite and top green, that's the power position you got to be worried about. Finds first blood.
And you got to keep in mind that with Parasite having an SMG, this would likely mean that there are 374 U's in the field right now for Wester. So a lot of aggression could come out very quickly. And at least for now, Fantastic Four are trying to read the room and posture for a setup over towards B, but as Jimbo tries to clear space, it's Zaptius who meets him bottom of the vent. And that will lead to another favorable exchange for Wester overall. 2 life lead, 45 seconds to play for the defense to see around number 5, in which the kill totals are also pretty darn close. So that will have to linger in our team's minds here as we dwindle on the clock even further, but the kills are good, and Fantastic Four should have an opportunity, pending they pick up this pinch from Venom to see his zone, but Venom does more than what is required, finding a double, and that once again means Fantastic Four need to set up an offensive push somewhere.
Gotta try to set up an offensive push and maybe stop this clock, but I think if you're looking at this from Fantastic Four's perspective, you want to try to stop this clock, that way you can find a couple kills. You're now currently down 4 kills. Again, if you're looking at this to get the defensive side in towards round number 5, you got to be able to at least win by 2 or more kills. Now that's the life disparity in between you and Wester, but you're getting zone progress as well. This clock is stopped at 16 seconds. The fight over inside of Dark is going to go by way of Fantastic Fours, so this last tick of progress should more than likely be given up. It will be, and Wester will just go solely defend the A zone.
And keep an eye on Dave here, because he's going to open up space and quite literally open the doors for his SMGs to work into the middle of the map, of which Jimbo finds 1 kill. Zap, caught over by the tires, going to find 1 kill, but traded just down to Glow Frosty to hold his life. Last defensive member here for Wester, already dealing with trouble from up top, and it will eventually be Sib from behind who finds the kill. Now you've got Fantastic Four, once again making progress on the A zone. They'll double stack that for at least 1 tick of progress. Wester need to break through, and you would love to do it sooner rather than later without giving this second tick of progress up, and well, how about the hit? Zapdos walks right behind Standy for a free kill. Numbers are looking good for Wester, but Fantastic Four, they just keep kind of baiting them into the jaws of this offense. They find 3 clean kills. Second tick of progress will surely be found.
And you have no choice. You got to flood now. Look at the zoning. It's about to be coming through. Third tick of progress is surely going to be here. You got to touch in time. Streaks were earned anyway. It doesn't even matter. Fantastic Four. There's the offensive round. 3-1, the final score. And, you know, I like I said, for Control, whoever wins the offensive round typically wins the map. And, well, there it is right there. Last round, Fantastic Four are able to close it out.
And it's this play from Dave. The B zone is still being threatened, but it's not at all being controlled by Fantastic Four. Until these 3 kills come out, Wester can no longer viably set up anything to retake. That's incredible. But then beyond that, Dave continues to work through Cobble, allows the SMGs to meet him, and eventually they overwhelm. But the most impressive aspect of any of that last offense was that final 10 to 15 seconds, where Wester are on the zone. It looks like they've got the numbers to come through, but Fantastic Four, they just kind of, I don't like this gunfight. I'm going to back up, let somebody who's fully healthy take it. And they were able to essentially dwindle away the health pools long enough to give them some favor to get those final 3 kills. And that eventually confirms them the round, but also the 3-0 sweep of Wester.
Wow.
Yes, I think the shock in my voice was merited for that.
It absolutely was. I think it truly was. I mean, given where these 4 players, we already framed it up more than enough times. I'll hit it one more time, and I'll say it loud for the boys in the back. That this is a Wester roster that literally came together, all of like maybe a couple days ago. So how much time in practice do they have, honestly, between each other? But, you know, going in towards, the second day of Elite, or of Elite Stage 2, there is a lot of time. You are 2-1. You have 1 more match to play today, 2 more days left to play matches for the next week. It's not a bad spot. Worst comes to worst, you're already guaranteeing yourself to make it through the qualification bracket. Yes, you would love to finish first or second, already make it inside that final bracket, but even still, Wester's not in a bad spot comparatively to some other North American teams. So this Fantastic Four roster really seems like the team to beat. They will be pushed to the limit again as they move away from the West and over towards the East with our second match of the evening.
Sure feels that way. So updates around the rest of these opening matches here with our first time slot for day number 2 of the North American Challengers Elite. Built by Gamers, as mentioned from before in the mainstream, found a 3-1 victory versus UT Crew. Easter are trying to fight back versus the Subliners Academy. They're locked in a good one. It was a 238-250 win on Garrison Hardpoint to NYSL. Then a round 11 win on Miami Search for the Subliners Academy. But then round 5, Garrison Control goes to Easter. They should be locked into a Moscow hardpoint now. And then otherwise, on the other matches that are going on, Higher versus Aerial Arise, still no results from the Garrison hardpoint as of yet. So those are things to kind of look forward to. For us, though, the next matchup that we'll be going into is going to stick with the Fantastic Four. They'll be playing up against Easter. So, of course, that means we need to wait for their results to kind of come through versus them in the Subliners Academy, which means we'll go back to everyone's favorite screen here in a moment, which is that wait screen. But before we do, just to keep in mind, today is Wednesday, which means it's time for the Diffuse immediately after North American Challengers has completed. It'll be happening over on my Twitch at twitch.tv/IHOLDSHIFT. We'll be breaking down some of the action in Challengers, holding lots of discussion over the group selections, and of course, how the meta might impact some of maybe our favorites or underdogs that could possibly recover in stage number 2. So do not miss that. It'll be happening right on my channel pretty much as soon as the Challengers Elite has come to a conclusion. Give it some time for us to set up some graphics and all that stuff like that. But for now, we'll send you guys to your favorite lovely break screen. And we'll come back when we've got Fantastic Four and Easter when they're ready after this.
my hands, not enough. And keep holding to what isn't there. Your pain, your pain.
you run from me? If I go, would you be happy in the end? So is it all for nothing? Was it all for nothing? Those memories, was it all for nothing? Was it all for nothing? So is it all for nothing? If I stay, would you run from me? If I go, would you be happy in the end? So is it all for nothing? Was it all for nothing? Those memories, was it all for nothing? Was it all for nothing? So is it all for nothing?
paradise. Won't change your mind. Can't shake the lights. I'll take the chance and roll the dice. I want it all, just for the night. I live it out like I'll never die. I lose my head in the starry skies. Can't chain me down, I feel so alive. Back down, only one way out. I let you run my life. Now you won't get me down. Untamed, guess I lost my mind. You turn me inside out. No one can stop me now. So turn up the light. Turn up the light. This is what I waited for. 'Cause the clock keeps ticking, hard for me to keep up. I can't take it no more. 'Cause the time keeps turning, feels just like it speeds up. It's what I waited for. Close your eyes, seek paradise. Won't change your mind. Can't shake the light. I'll take the chance and roll the dice. Just wanna feel the stars surround. The atmosphere never to come down. I'll stand alone, whether right or wrong. It takes me home, right where I belong. Back down, only one way out. I let you run my life. Now you won't get me down. Untamed, guess I lost my mind. You turn me inside out. No one can stop me now. So turn up the light. Turn up the light. This is what I waited for. 'Cause the clock keeps ticking, hard for me to keep up. I can't take it no more. This is what I waited for. 'Cause the clock keeps ticking, hard for me to keep up. I can't take it no more. 'Cause the time keeps turning, feels just like it speeds up. Is what I waited for.
Welcome back, everybody. Ready to go here with our second match to close out week number 1 in North America. We're looking at what is still a flawless Fantastic Four squad, and I think we could actually put more emphasis on flawless after their 3-0 win versus Wester. Now they head to the other side of the country and play up against Easter, a team that going into today was also 2-0, but just took a surprising loss to New York Subliners Academy, which feels weird to say, but for NYSL, they had only won a single map yesterday. So for them to come out and beat Easter, pretty good accomplishment, to be sure.
Yeah, I didn't get to watch it either, so yeah, I mean, who honestly knows? Maybe NYSL Academy have been able to learn apart from their triple SMG setup. Maybe it's something that Easter just weren't set up for. But I mean, this roster of Easter are very strong within their own self. I mean, individually on paper, you can say more than enough for all of these players. We just got done watching that Fantastic Four 3-0 dominance over Wester, and well, dominance very loosely in towards the search and destroy is where it really got competitive. But I mean, a big opportunity is here for Fantastic Four again. Between Dave, Patty, and Standy, not part of Triumph anymore. Jimbo and Sib, they played last Elite with the team called Maki Maki. They collectively make this unit together. They are the only undefeated team so far in North America Challengers, and I think that does speak volumes that if they can keep this going for themselves, a lot of teams are gonna be put on notice.
Without question. And now just kind of taking a look at this best of five. Just want to make sure we get through that before our lobby starts. No weirdness here, nothing new, no Apocalypse, no Express in the mix, but we will be getting a little bit of Garrison as let's be not only our first hard point, but also the control for map 3. Checkmate, Search, and Destroy will be waiting for us for map number 2. And Moscow for the hard point, Raid for the final Search and Destroy if it needs to go to the distance. And, again, this is another map set that I think overall you look at pretty favorably, I think, if you're looking at this from Fantastic Four's POV, largely from the fact that Garrison control could be a swing map in this series. And they're 3-0 on it, including, again, a very good performance versus Wester in their most recent matchup.
Yeah, again, that offensive round that we saw at the conclusion for that Garrison control was pretty definitive. This Fantastic Four roster across all Respawn really know what each kill individually means to take away the map terrain. But that's also what Easter has going for themselves. They are working with Coach Phoenix previously with Wester when they were at their peak. So they do have some guidance when it comes down to what they do bring to the table. And I think if you were looking at this map set going between both of these teams, a lot could be said historically, at least through NA
Sure.
Challengers Elite so far, and what we've seen through cups from each one of these players individually, apart from the teams that they're playing on today.
And no, by statistics, just through 3 matches. So again, not the greatest sample size ever. But when it comes to the second stage to the elite, there really isn't a weakness so far for any of these squads. A slightly better overall win-loss ratio for Fantastic Four in the search and in the control, but that's to be
Right.
expected when you've got Easter, who just had to go map 5 and try to pull reverse sweep versus the New York Subliners Academy roster. So for all intents and purposes, both these teams very evenly matched, which is, well, one of the reasons why we wanted to bring you guys this broadcast. Let's be honest. We're not going to be picking the silly matches here. We want to try to give you guys the best shows possible. And I think, just kind of looking at, we've got a lot to say about Fantastic Four, and we said a lot of it in their prior matchup. But looking at Easter, this is a team that I feel like a lot of the eyes naturally gravitate towards what John can bring to the table, because let's be honest, he's able to come back after about a year and change of not having played, does all right for his first couple of Challengers events, but really I think a lot of people would expect and needed to see him make it to stage 2. He does it through the qualifier, looked great throughout it, and played incredibly well yesterday when we saw them play up against Built by Gamers. In my mind, that lens becomes more magnified, if anything else, the longer we go into stage number 2. Because I feel like for a lot of people that are out there, they're still looking at John as, again, former world champion, at one point in time, arguably one of the best COD players in the world. Can he be that again? And if so, I feel like CDL teams would be very quick to pounce on bringing him back into the league again for the first time since Black Ops 4.
Yeah, that within its own self brings a lot to a team's perspective. I mean, even look what John's surrounded by right now with Jerd, Tom Gravity, and Fellow. And in that win versus Built by Gamers yesterday, we saw John play a very good role, but it was Fellow that truly went absolutely AWOL with the QBZ. But I mean, even still for John to be surrounded by a very good team that can only help them look that much better if that is what their ultimate outcome is, depending on what they continue to do throughout their career of Cold War. Yeah, I could honestly see it happening because you bring yourself back when John started their escapade through Cold War again when they announced that they were coming back. Very slow start, but they've been able to resurge and come into their own. And when you have that championship caliber, I mean, hell, all the way up to the CDL, like you just mentioned, they want those players inside the league. You bring something very different than what many other players have to offer.
And you still have Fellow, who's a substitute for the Empire. The Gravity, of course, was affiliated pretty strongly with the Atlanta FaZe last year for their Academy roster. And then Jerd, obviously, we know the story with him being a former pro for the last couple of years. Now, it's just one of those things of what is it going to take, I think, for some of these CDL teams to start to even consider pulling from the pool of Challengers players that are out there, outside of London being the one example of who knows what they're doing. But when there needs to be changes that are happening, what is the scouting report going to say? Like, what are they actually looking for to, kind of improve a roster overall? I don't know. It's conversation for another time, because we're getting ready to jump into the Garrison hardpoint for map number 1. Again, both teams have been pretty successful on this map overall. Although, to be fair, again, not the greatest sample size, just 3 total occurrences that either of these two teams have played on this map collectively. So we'll let those kind of statistics speak for themselves. But for Fantastic Four, they have, on average, been winning their hard points by a steep margin and only losing them by marginal numbers. So they're definitely a very complete hard point team overall, and they're going to look to try to do that here once more as we jump on in. It'll be the Fantastic Four in the white and red, Easter in the blue and white. And the opening engagements have favored Fantastic Four so far, as they've already generated 15 seconds with the time on the opening hard point.
And off spawn, Fantastic Four, they have the easier opportunity for that top green control, but this is what I was going to talk about and extend the point. You're mostly going to be looking at your flex players when you're thinking about Garrison. Dave had a fantastic series that we just casted over top of Wester. Already spoke high volumes about Fellow and what they were able to do versus Built by Gamers. We're going to have to showcase just that. It's going to be a focus for the rotation for Easter over towards New.
Well, the engagement's still yet to be determining of who wins these gunfights. John nearly finds himself a double down, which would have made life much easier for Easter, but they still find themselves with numbers and spawns favorable for the second hard point. John versus Standy, big 1v1 that could influence spawns, but John will make sure that for the time they stay safe. Fantastic Four's next approach, going to come through tires, right through the middle of bricks. Gravity good for one, backs away, good help from Easter, and they lock down the hold, completely push Fantastic Four back, and now 35 seconds. Gravity wants it or an early rotation, but that'll be stalled by Standy as Fantastic Four have maybe one more opportunity to get a break in for the scrap time.
Be playing for contest time. Kills are starting to go your favor, so at least the scrap time will be in your favor. That'll marginally tie up the game, not unless these last two players for Easter have anything to say about it. It'll just be Gravity who's going to be able to find one. So up to the Diamati's actually going to be able to find two. So back 12 seconds will be there for Easter. Now we're going to focus our rotation past the middle of the map over by the generators. That's where you see player number 2 and 4. John and Jared are trying to set up. Fellow will spawn in, but Fantastic Four, they're already trying to threaten it through the front.
Oops. Well, we've seen better moments from John. Just literally pegs Jared in the back. You think it's going to be someone that you don't know. And little you know, it's people you hold closest to you. Fantastic Four will use that as an opportunity to break the spawns up. And they actually have a really good look at hardpoint time now here on third, which is going to be incredible for a little bit of a marginal comeback effort here. They could not just tie the game. They actually could take their lead right back.
Yeah, and again, this is a setup that Easter initially it had. A team kill goes their way for Fantastic Four, makes their job easier for sure. Now we got down to scrap time before we rotate over towards trash. Would love to see Easter try to get QBZ or maybe an AR up in top green, set up for that long-awaited hold. A lot of teams have been able to focus on 4P4. A little battle goes on the backside of Caution. Good kill feed so far for Easter. You just want to zone away Fantastic Four and set up for New.
Yeah, this is really, really good, though, I think, still, for Fantastic Four. You have just Jerd to deal with to get through the preferred exit, which is by dark. Semtex will not actually even get down for Jerd as a trophy was able to keep it safe, so he's got to back up pretty significantly. Good thing he's got Gravity here to try to assist, but the kills still turn up in favor of Fantastic Four. Standy, he finds himself on 3 in a row, 10 and 4 overall, secures the exit for Fantastic Four through the third hard point, and with his position top green, he'll zone out any Easter members to be able to get here, which leads to them now putting themselves onto the fourth hard point for some extra time.
Ooh, number 5 was to the side, but Sandy gave it up. 2 kills go here for John. Hardpoint still has 30 seconds inside of it. Going up towards the game clock right now. John, not even fully waiting for the regen, will go in for that hardpoint time. Very close between these two teams. Fantastic Four, they still hold those close spawns. They can still try to threaten the time here for P3, but most importantly, this is a big gunfight for Fantastic Four to win because they got to get through the middle of the map to even focus on a rotation towards P5.
Well, at some point in time, Easter need to get a lockdown here. Been a lot of successful breaks and kind of foils of the initial setups from Easter so far from Fantastic Four's POV. And as they will be the first team to get onto this fifth hard point, John is trying to make life difficult for any members that are caught over towards the fourth hill, but it does leave Jerd by himself on square itself. And while the Easter will be able to kind of successfully trade their way back into the hard point for what is the large majority of the first 20 seconds.
Four is going to be in a pretty key role. Gravity just trying to finesse a bullet through a very thin area. 3-for-1 trade, all in Easter's favor. To be able to soak up at least another 10 seconds before Fantastic Four can try to threaten this, but not a bad look of things. Just trying to zone away Fantastic Four time and time again. They know when to recollect themselves. Here comes the likes of Fantastic Four through Cobble. Again, they're most likely just going to be focusing on the rotation through top green just to set up for a second set of hills, but what a very competitive first set of hills we had between these two teams.
Yeah, pretty much dead even game so far. And Fantastic Four just have to deal with Gravity from behind, but maybe easier said than done as Tom does well to find a couple, and that will make Easter's exit from this, what was almost a spawn trap behind what P5 provided, into an opportunity to get through lights, maybe have a chance to get onto the hard point. But Dave is there to meet a couple of players as he just locks things down from up top by green for 2. And that will lead to Fantastic Four getting some more free time. And with that, now we essentially have a dead even game tied at about 116.
And Easter just trying to play a few members inside of lights. They're going to get Semtex out while the other 2 players were committed towards the flank over inside top green. Standy will find both of those kills. Jimbo will find one over by the hill. Won't be able to cross the catwalk scot-free, but all of that free time that Easter had given up just for the pinch play does not pay off. It still enables Fantastic Four for a very easy rotation across catwalk inside of New. That was Day Petty that was struck down incredibly low, but Sib is here to help.
Oh, but Sib having a tough time closing out on kills. Good thing he's got teammates to help him, as he would have had 2, but it's Jimbo and Dave that were there for the team shots. That will clean things up. 3 for 1 will be the kill tally in favor of Fantastic Four, just as the second hardpoint opens up, but they have not successfully zoned. So Easter still a favorable spawns can reinforce, forcing Dave to have to make a special play, which he does, not just for his life, but for 7 straight kills. That means an artillery strike has been earned. He's trying to play outside the barriers, but it says do not cross for a reason, as Jordan's able to come away with 2, and it will stall him from getting a cruise missile. Just comes down to, will Dave maybe try to activate this now? And it looks like yes. They will come through, try to push these Easter members off the hard point. That will lead to Fantastic Four being able to flood through, but the kills are still here for Easter. 2 from Gravity. He even gets a 3rd. John working forward, trying to find Sib, and he will eventually be awarded a kill. That will be a still solid hold for Easter in the face of what should have been a pretty successful streak.
I love the call for the kill streak, but you cannot ever count out Tom Gravity. It was just in the back of Bricks, was just holding down the angle with an AR. Was able to lock down those 3 kills. So competitive. Over towards Jenny's we go. Fantastic Four. They got the close spawns for the initial time. Easter were there for the first set of hills. Now they got to break in through dark and through the openings of this tin tent. Not successful so far for Easter.
Still could be scrappy, though, as you've got a couple members that have stayed alive, including Jerd. John is here that could potentially help. The damage you thought would have been good enough to at least find some opening towards tools, but Fantastic Four apparently still were gained enough space to spawn in, so reinforcements will make life much easier, and that will lead to a 20-plus point lead for Fantastic Four. Although, watch out, number 4, Jerd has actually spawned behind, and whoa, the hold of the respawn for 2 other members for Easter allow them to spawn up, and my goodness, it would have had been a matter of inches, not even feet, to determine who was going to spawn where, and Easter get a bit of a lucky break, and now they find themselves soaking up the scrap time, and they've got members that could potentially make life a bit easier on the rotation.
All comes down to John. That's a long-range engagement versus Standy. You can see Jimbo on the X-ray would love to clean out John, but going to be able to get out with their life. And towards P4 we go, opening things up again. Fantastic Four. They're going to be able to find the opening 20 seconds unless John finds a miracle play. Actually finds the headshot towards Sid, but Sandy soaking up the hard point time will be traded on out. Still just about 30 seconds in between these 2 teams. It's Fantastic Four. They would love to keep Easter zoned away over by Jenny's, but Easter are breaking on through.
Still yet to be determined on who's going to be able to be the victors of this hard point. Sib up top, really trying to heat things up. Still, we kind of mentioned it a couple of different times in the last series. Not the greatest performance, considering that the rest of his teammates are doing a lot of the heavy lifting. And this time, we can't even give him credit for the hard point time. Only 14 seconds, so definitely having a rough game. But he still finds his team in a lead, at least for a marginal amount of time. Jerd over the top, good for 1, not going to get second. So we've got ourselves essentially a tie game, and as we rotate over to the 5th hard point, there are technically numbers here for Fantastic Four, but Gravity and the lights could definitely make things interesting.
Well, Gravity's going to go down inside of lights, and Dave's going to smoke Jerd with QBZ. Pretty good weapon that QBZ is, but won't be able to cross the catwalk, and it was John coming out from dark. Inside of P5 over by the shipment square. Fantastic Four have a, well, fantastic setup. They're zoning away top catwalk. Jimbo would love to find the skill over by Trash, and Jerd's going to take them down, but still a lot of time is coming through from Fantastic Four. John does spawn in, though. That could cause them a little bit of a ruckus.
Yeah, a bit of a 50-50 parallel spawn going on, and yeah, John is trying to play that nuisance role, but eventually gets overwhelmed, so even though his team finds themselves in the hard point currently with 25 seconds to play, the numbers will be a little bit more sturdy for Fantastic Four a little bit sooner, and there is the breakthrough. 2:01 is where the clock will stop for Easter. To 2:09 will go Fantastic Four, and well, we could get a conclusion on this first hard point, but you definitely want to make sure we're keeping our eyes on the rotation to potentially a second hill, because with how this hard point has gone so far, it's been a tug-of-war through and through, and we have to figure that that's going to be the case again.
More than likely will. Again, Easter this time around, they're going to focus on this rotation over by top green. You look at the mini-map, Sib is already there. They're looking directly at that angle. It's 2 players here, now just a one-on-one. Sandy will get both those kills in the end. So top green control will remain here for Fantastic Four as P1 does pop. And a little bit of a battle is coming on out. Again, you can close this out if you are Fantastic Four, but last player remaining here is Sib. Easter going to get this player off.
Standy has been electric for Fantastic Four this map, 35 and 19 with nearly 2 minutes worth of hill time. Sib, this would be a great time to start making some moves with important kills. Standy trying to help him out, but it's actually going to be a pinch from Gravity that takes Sib out of the picture for now. Standy has maybe a 1v1, going to get the regen off, finds the elimination. That's going to be 2 in a row for Standy. Fantastic Four can still win here, and Jimbo, he's actually picking players off spawn. He able to get a second kill. Standy chasing down the last. That's a full 4-man wipe. Even if Easter can touch in time to the first hard point, they will be lost getting to the second. Fantastic Four, an incredible little pinch-up moment between Jimbo and Standy. Get him the 250 to 206 win.
And again, I mean, you said it yourself right there. I mean, Standy has been electric for the success coming in towards this Garrison hardpoint for Fantastic Four. And although it was Dave that was able to find at least one score streak, it was Standy that was finding kill after kill, three spree after three spree, time and time again. That was just always the last player left alive. And was able to create so much space, quite literally mowing through the competition in certain instances of time. But Easter, they tried to fight for as much as they possibly could have, but Gravity could only do so much. They were leading their team 33 in kills. I talked about how Fellow really showed up for Built by Gamers in that matchup yesterday, but going up against this Fantastic Four roster, there was really no immediate answer to the pressure that Dave and Standy were able to bring, and Jimbo did at that or at the
It's one of those things that I feel like you just look back at what that Triumph roster was, and you're sitting there kind of confused on why they're not a routine top 8 finisher at the least, if not maybe even more than that, when you've got players like Stave and Danny, Dave, and Royalty in general in the mix. But Standy really showing up in a major way there. I mean, nearly double positive with 35 plus eliminations and tons of hard point time. And the final play, really allowing them a chance to win that game, just as you would figure he would be the playmaker to do it. So taking a look at this best of 5 map series set, and that is just map number 1 for us in the hard point. Coming up next, we'll be looking at the Checkmate Search and Destroy. And again, both of our teams have been pretty darn good in Search overall, although not a lot of times have been played on Checkmate overall. The one time you could speak about it for Fantastic Four, they lost to UT Crew on that map that was played yesterday. And on the other side, for the side of Easter, they've been good, but they did just come off of a pretty bad loss to the New York Subliners Academy. That would have been where they would have gotten their reverse sweep if they were to have won that map. So that was the map 5 that was lost, I believe. And now you have to kind of find a way to recover and adapt immediately coming off of that loss.
Yeah, and going in towards the Checkmate Search and Destroy, it does take that point that I was marginally hitting. The players that I mostly want to look at, it will be the flex players, specifically the ones that are carrying the QBZs coming out from Dave and Fellow. You can create a lot of space, and you can win a lot of engagements that you probably could not until the QBZ really came around, especially when it comes down to Checkmate. Hipfire, pretty darn stellar. You can get inside the woodworks of that plane with an SMG, create a lot of space, get that bomb planted. Retakes are also all there as well, and the ARs can also open things up as far as those lanes are concerned. No smokes, remember, so that A site is more than likely just going to be a little bit
there for
of
decoration.
Yeah, I was about to say it's like a little vase. It doesn't have flowers in it right now. We're working on it, but it's just a beautiful vase that is setting up on top of a shelf right now, collecting dust, and nobody's going to hit that anytime soon. Maybe in a 1v3 situation, you might see the team work their way over there, but a lot of focus will be inside of that plane. And again, in and around those wings, the QBZs, the Krig 6s, are they going to be able to work those very long lines inside to find those first bloods, or inside the plane? Can the SMGs find themselves a presence of mind to be able to push all the way through and really disturb a defense or offensive setup?
That'll be what we kind of keep our eye on, to be sure. But you also have to remember that the last we saw John playing, when he was playing up against Built by Gamers, I mean, he was one of the big reasons why they were finding so much success on the Search and Destroy. He had 2 really great maps. That was, again, from yesterday when we were watching it here on the community stream. We are a full lobby, just waiting on the game to start overall, so we'll jump in here as soon as it's ready to go. A small update, just kind of keeping an eye on what's happening across the other 3 matches. Wester have defeated Aerial Arise on the first hard point played on Checkmate pretty convincingly. 250 to 104 was the score there. We'll give you updates as we can to the Subliners Academy UT Crew game, as well as the Built by Gamers and Higher game once they are updated for us. But enough of that and more of this as we go into the Checkmate Search and Destroy. I was feeling very Jurassic 5 right there. You can get with this, you can get with that.
Honestly, it felt very dramatic, and I was with it. Boy. Beautiful.
It's one of my favorite like old school like hip hop 90s songs for sure. And it was that one that what was that like the Kia Soul with the hamsters when they're driving around?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's also a good one too. I mean, if like
Sticks
you
my
go
mind.
back for like old classic hip hop, there's so many
I
Tribe
do.
Called Quest songs that again, that's as a musical podcast, maybe one day we will talk about. But yeah, but even
Maybe.
still, going in towards this search and destroy, and will be Easter for the offense. Bomb carry of Jared is actually over by that A site. You can see where Dave Patty, at least on the mini map, is aware. Jared can't be here for too long. I'm gonna rotate towards the rest of their players. If not, get some help. Got 50 seconds left to make a play.
Well, no first bloods as of yet, but Fellow has made his way pretty far forward underneath the plane, and John as well. Oh, he doesn't fully check his right. This should be a free kill for Standy, I would imagine. Oh, never mind. He's going to back up. Let's say it looked like he wanted to try to make a play around the back, but Gravity inside the plane will find 2 kills. Color me surprised. As Jerd will use that freedom to get the bomb planted safely for a 4v2 post plant.
Now, how do you retake this? The last 2 players. Well, now just Dave was able to find Fellow. Had that angle inside of the plane, sees Gravity from afar. Look at a Crick 6 left to play. And somehow, gotta make your way inside of this plane. You see in the X-ray, John, he's got us up. He's ready for it. He wins the gunfight. Easter take the first round. And again, they were playing for information at the beginning of it. The second that they made the call to brute force their way in, they were just holding on the angles. Gravity knowing exactly where to check behind that seat. Here comes Sid for a quick challenge. Gravity for 2 in the round.
Little crouch shot right there really keeps him alive. You saw the bullet kind of whiz right past his ear.
Giving away free haircuts.
Apparently.
Must be nice.
Yeah, true that.
Could use one.
Although I don't know if I would ever get a free haircut if the method of cutting hair would be bullets.
And Sid was giving it too. I don't know.
You have to imagine, even if the haircut is free, the insurance costs a lot.
You could always shave your head.
You could always do that. Well, this time for Fantastic Four on the offense. Pretty slow setup. You're going to have Sib and Standy playing opposite sides of the map. The bomb will be focused towards B. Easter are happy to give them this position. You see Jerd is watching the cross. That will give information to his defensive teammates on whether or not a player has made a move over towards B. Plus, you see those 2 open windows. He could potentially contest from that space as well. And interestingly enough, I was going to ask the question, is Standy actually using a Krig from this position? He is. So very slow setup, including a number of ARs in the mix here for Fantastic Four. And what was initially a great first blood does get countered by a self trophy. And interestingly enough, the Semtex connects on Jimbo, but the push through to deny the plant is not there. So it's a 1v2, but Jimbo does get the bomb planted and nearly has a chance to isolate for 1 kill onto Jerd. And this should be a defuse going to Gravity, I was about to say. He's kind of looking around for a moment here, but on 4 in a row, that would help him work towards streaks.
Oh, we're waiting for Dead Silence charge. Oh, wait, just kidding. That was the last game. So, yeah. Well, I would think not actually towards Gravity, but I'm going to give it to Jerd.
All right.
I mean, you could make an argument. I mean, how much value are you going to find with streaks? I mean, it's your artillery strike.
Well,
you get information via the ping regardless. I mean,
you also, I think, have to keep in mind that Jerd is typically the OBJ carrier for this squad. So maybe they're thinking, okay, Gravity can play for kills, but, you know, we're going to give Jerd the bomb auto spawn next offense. So let's see if he maybe can just get his streaks off of just continual OBJ plays.
I could burst through the plane too, and full likelihood of being able to find that first blood rather than the toss-up of Gravity playing the angle.
Exactly.
Although being able to find the value with it, you could end up finding the kills, yeah. Absolutely.
It's actually going to be John who takes the bomb out of spawn this time.
We're just confused all around.
Yeah, we're just wrong. Where am I right now? What is this?
What is my own name?
Jerd's actually got a Krig this time around the offense. He has a couple of players trying to push him long-range gunfight and an elongated gunfight at that between him and Dave, of which Dave takes the win. Over the top, beautiful shots from John at range. Able to find 1 trade, but Dave, good for 2, not a third. So back and forth we go, and in the end, it results to a 1v2 situation in which John would have to be the one to make the play. He does find Sib and gets information on the last. John versus Jimbo, plenty of time still to work with.
Gonna be coming through Jimbo. Oh, John saw him cross. Jimbo just gonna look to collect themselves inside the maid cabin. Here comes John for the challenge.
No
The jump
way.
challenge is gonna be good. Jimbo not fully expecting it. John gets the better of him. 3-round lead here for Easter.
I mean, this is an incredible display
What
of
an angle.
With an SMG, no more muzzle brake or any kind of muzzle attachments.
Yeah.
That thing's not shooting as straight as he makes it look, I'll tell you that much. So a 3-0 start for Easter. I wouldn't say it's a required bounce back map, but you would love to be able to go 1-1, especially considering the circumstances about that Garrison control that we laid out at the beginning of this series. Very favorable map choice for Fantastic Four. But now as they're going to be trying to approach the offense, Jimbo with the bomb, throwing shoulders, just trying to see if anyone's playing on those back seats. And, well, now the shots come through. Jimbo backing up. Dave also trying to work this with him, at least somewhat. I think so will come to a pretty neutral stall here until Sid finds first blood over towards DA site.
One player here defensively is going to be Fellow. They have a Krig 6, not the QBZ. Really tough to be able to take a close range engagement, especially against Jimbo, who is again carrying the bomb, but Fellow challenges it. Full ADS will take down Jimbo. That's the bomb dropped inside the main cabin of the plane. And, well, now it's all up to Dave and Standy 2v3.
Very difficult position to be working with here. Not a lot of angles in which you're going to be able to find too many free kills. Someone's going to have to make a play, and both players have ARs for the time being. Dave maybe had an opportunity to search for a single kill, but that opportunity will be denied, and now he's being chased from behind. Easter. What a search and destroy this has been. 4-0 up. Hey, this is coming off of it. You got to remember, a 1-6 loss in the map 5 versus NYSL Academy.
Yeah, even on that defense, too, they essentially aren't really giving much of anything over towards the offense. One bow was thrown, but a little bit too wide of a peak. You get first blooded, but inside the plane, just all smart challenges from there on out. And that's the one key gunfight that you got to win. Fellow taking down Jimbo, the OBJ player, unable to find any value inside the plane. The solo SMG player at that really takes the wind out of your sails for Fantastic Four. And you talk about what a resurgence coming off that loss for Easter. It's going to come through an offense here for them. Fellow trying to break in through the plane, trying to make some noise, but it's going to be Sib that takes down John. That's the bomb carrier.
At a certain point, you just need kills to come through for Jimbo and Standy. 0-8 between the two of them at the moment. So even though it's a 3v4 that you would normally look at and say, okay, the defense should have some favor, is it? Or is it a 2v3? Jerd over the top, not going to find the gunfight versus Sib. He is a little bit caught right here, but there will not be an opportunity to get the trade as Gravity will be left by himself. Ego chow from Sib because why not? And Fantastic Four are able to get on the board, but I guess in my mind, that's going to have to be one of at least 3 in a row just to make this one close, because you just do not want to go down 5-1, 5-2, or 5-3.
You just don't want to see that 5 until you're at least one round
Yeah.
down. Essentially is what Shift is saying. So it's, yeah, you're going to have to string together rounds here for sure if you are Fantastic Four. And again, it's, well, Standy was able to find their first kill. It's just amount of participation. You can only trade so much information by the time that you give up your life. If your teammates aren't there to be able to find the kills in 4v4, that is so much more damning than it was in 5v5 to try to come back from such odds. But Fantastic Four for the offense. We'll find first blood again. It's going to be Sib takes down Gravity.
The opportunities are actually trying to overwhelm this bottom plane wing. Fellow responds, though. Now to the pistol. Has the angle onto Sib. Works it through to a 1v1. Outside, though. Dave, a little bit of more firepower. Keeps things interesting, but this is a hell of a read for Fantastic Four. It's a 3-man defensive push right to the wing.
Krig 6 versus the Diamatti. Close range engagement. You'll see it from Dave Patty's perspective. Yeah, Fellow actually misses through that first burst. That could have gotten pretty hairy. You got Fellow just hitting it real fast at the QBZ. That's what I was almost expecting to have happen. A lot of Krigs in this Checkmate search and destroy. And, well, not many people were surprised, given how the lanes and how Checkmate in general works. But Fantastic Four gonna look to build off this. Gonna have 2 players inside the plane. Many players just playing in and around the lanes. But as far as Easter is concerned for their offense, they're trying to not only find this information, but they're trying to bait out a push from Fantastic Four.
Well, Jimbo laying prone to the bomb. You see Standy right next to him on the table. In most worlds, if you're offensively trying to hit towards B, you might check one of those angles, but surely not both. So chaos could possibly ensue. Fellow was the one that came out of spawn with the bomb, by the way. Oh my, Semtexes, what in the world was that? Sib fortunately picks up 2 after 2 self nades came in.
Huh.
But Sib eventually falls. So now it's just down to Dave again that has to clutch, but this time it's a 1v2.
Gravity's got the bomb. They're actually just gonna push him. Jerd gets smoked.
What?
Isolated 1v1s is not what you want. Dave does not wait for the regen before they cross. I know it's not going to be, but I really wish that double team Semtex was going to be the best play. I know it wasn't going to be. My hopes were held high. It's going to be Sib's 2-piece that was about to even the odds.
I would have to go back and rewatch. I didn't see a trophy down anywhere around that bomb site defensively for that stack for Fantastic Four. Not that it would have been different because they killed themselves with Semtexes, but you don't feel panicked, I feel like, if you've got a trophy to keep the ongoing or incoming Semtexes at bay. A little bit wild. Jimbo, unfortunately, merits to be mentioned, 1 death away from joining the agency. He does have the bomb and would be the player to initially get over towards this B bomb site, but he's only working this with Dave, so you don't feel like a commitment is coming, at least not immediately.
Must win here. Fantastic Four. They got B-side presence. Sib again, first blood on offense against Tom. It's an AR down. 50 seconds left to play. Not feeling comfortable enough to plant this bomb. The spread a little bit wider now for Easter. They got to cover where Tom was dropped at. But Fantastic Four, again, with 40 seconds left to play, they haven't fully committed to the plant.
Oh, but John, good angle on the Sib, or so you would have thought. And that means now Jimbo can make his way forward, make safe a trophy, tries to keep his life. And while this has occurred, the plant comes down. The fellow was able to find 1 elimination, but caught top yellow, which means Fantastic Four can't extend this to around 9.
That was an ace for Sib, by the way.
Casual.
Yeah, just casually. It's just like when we were casting Ishoni and Sib just like casually drops like, what was it, like 60 or something? Like, yeah, we're just hanging out, having a good time. Sib just ace in the round, found that first blood on Tom, never gave up that wing from there on out. Again, this has to be the resurgence of their, I don't want to say the lifetime, probably of all Cold War so far. Fantastic Four. I can't really date back for all individuals for Fantastic Four, but at least for Cold War, I can speak it. 13-6 for Sib. We'll start on board with them, see if maybe they can find an angle for one of these players for Easter who would love to close it out here on offense. The bomb being carried by John, by the way, it's not in the plane. You can see with the X-ray is right underneath that blue wing.
Sib is watching this. It might not be enough of an angle to find a kill, but he could read the play if it does unfold. Easter getting a little bit of cold feet by playing out of the plane. They want to go inside now to more safer confines, but is it safer confines? Dave, good for 1. Aggressive peek over through the A lane. Gets some good timing. John and Fellow trying to work inside the plane, but Jimbo has stayed safe. The Semtex reveals nothing. Dave also watching the cross very attentively. Means that, again, they're bounced back and they have to make a decision of how you would get into this B site at the moment.
The trophy system's going to be down on the backside here for Fantastic Four, so if there's any util left for Easter, it's not going to go on their side. The stun will come through. 25 seconds left to play, and, well, Easter, they got to move.
Oh, Standy actually runs right by John, but the timing is beautiful because he's behind all of this play up top. Hello, here's 1. How about a second? Would you like a 3rd maybe, Standy? Sure. Oh, he runs out of ammunition, and his teammates will come to help. Gosh. But regardless of that, unfortunately not clean 3K. It's still an absolutely perfect defense, without question.
Shift wagging his finger. Sandy, unbelievable. Can't believe you didn't get that kill with the last bullet for a clean 3-piece. Unbelievable. Nice flank, by the way. Good round, Fantastic Four. Smile, says Shift. And well, yeah. Again, Jimbo, part of the HC. I'm sure their EKIA looks entirely different than what we see. Same thing for Sibu. Raw KD is at 14-6. It is absurd. It's on 5 straight through multiple rounds. This is the resurgence, again, that I was talking about for Fantastic Four. They're working these first bloods. It's going to have to be back-to-back offenses to send it to a round 11. Easter are not pushing up aggressively. Don't have anybody directly inside the plane. They have angles to cover it through the windows in the back staircase will be John if the information is conveyed via Jerd or Gravity.
Calm washes over Checkmate for now. See the defensive setup for Easter. It looks like a defensive front line in a soccer game of some nature. Everyone is kind of evenly spread. Sib once again, first blood against Gravity. That's 6 kills straight for Sib, and most of those in first blood fashion. And the bomb is going A. this is a commitment at the moment. It's very risky because Jerd is in a position where he can lock things down. Yet Jimbo has to back away, but Standy has worked his way to the back, almost turned on, but still finds the confirmation onto Jerd. That leads it now just down to Fellow. Finds the first elimination, but it's a 1v4 in situation in total,
Wow.
and Sib finds his 7th kill. That should be good for an artillery strike. Maybe not a lot of kill potential from it, but getting a ping and a read of the land is going to be incredible for Fantastic Four to try to bring this back. What is that, 4 rounds in a row?
Yes, it is. That is 4 rounds in a row. And, well, that's what I was worrying about. Whether or not Sib's 16 kills was enough to actually tip them over to be on defense. It is. Good lord. And, yeah, I want to say that they're probably close to about 10 first bloods at this point, Shift, out of their 16 kills. That's just crazy within its own self. But even still, Easter, they got to close it out here in an offensive round. They do not want to be going down 2 maps into control versus Fantastic Four. Bomb being carried by John. 3 players deep inside the plane for Easter.
And let's be honest, Sib can find value if he earns a cruise missile as well. Needs to make a decision between when do you want to ping and check your iPad here for the artillery versus when do you want to play for the angle, because this is a very important angle you need to hold on to. Fellow finds first blood. There's the informational read. Gonna kind of outline the plane a touch, but this will be John trying to plant, but Sib's artillery strike does find one. Bomb will not be planted. John gave it up. So we go 3v3. Sib now has his weapon up to play with, but John will still stick for the plant. Post-plant favor for Easter. Standy around the back. Oh, careful here. Oh.
Sadie's gonna go down. Oh, so close to the cruise missile. It's not gonna find value now. And Dave's gotta push this. Sib needs to get up here and help. You got 27 seconds left to play inside the plane. Dave goes down. Sib left alive 1v3. Sib can't find the first kill coming out from the cabin. And Easter, after a resurgence from Fantastic Four, 4 rounds in a row, that was about to be really freaky. But Easter, they close it out, tying it up 1 apiece.
It's John staying alive was so important. I was a bit surprised initially that when the artillery strike was being called in, he was trying to plant, but he got tagged up from an AR across the map, and he just gave it up completely. And I was nervous that that call to give up the bomb plant may cost them, because you got to remember that as Sib is trying to ping the artillery, he's not technically a part of the play because he doesn't have a weapon out. It's not nearly as safe as it was when you would see like 5v5 Black Ops 4 lightning strikes, things of that nature, especially in search. But Easter recover. They make sure they don't lose too many in a row. They win the round 11, which brings us to a 1-1 map count and a Garrison control for map number 3, which is still, it's good news for Fantastic Four. I mean, every single match that they've played so far here in stage 2 has gone by way of playing a Garrison control, and each of the 3 times that they've played it, they've come away with victories.
Yeah, and that could end up speaking volumes. Again, this is an actual swing map mode combo. We are actually tied up 1 apiece here, so whoever could end up taking this Garrison control could feel a little bit of steam and momentum headed in towards that guaranteed map for, which will be the Moscow hardpoint. But I mean, even still, the way that we've been seeing Easter play through those very slow, methodical rounds for that Garrison control, and even certain instances when you go back to the hardpoint Garrison, it is all of that and some more when it comes down to control. Each kill absolutely means something. We're talking map pressure and control. Your AR's got to be playing lights out. They got to be working these power positions, but it's not going to work offense or defensive like unless your SMGs are truly up to par to setting the pace over your adversary.
Yep. Well, it's going to be interesting. Just kind of looking over what's going on across the league. You got to remember that Fantastic Four is our only undefeated team still in North America at the moment, after this Easter squad just previously lost to New York Subliners Academy. On the mainstream, Wester are currently playing up against Aerial Arise, and I say the word playing a little bit more loosely than maybe I should, because it's a 2-0, very convincing right now for Wester, after they had a 250-104 hardpoint win. It was a 6-2 search and destroy. Built by Gamers, tight series versus higher, in which Built by Gamers is up 2-0, 250-210 the Apocalypse hardpoint, and a 6-5 round 11 win on the Moscow search and destroy. And then UT Crew playing up against the Subliners Academy. That's also a pretty tight affair right now, just through a single map that was only decided by about 27 points. That's in favor of UT Crew, the 250-223 win on Checkmate hardpoint. So a lot of things to break down. I mean, it's just been kind of wild because expectations be damned. I mean, there really weren't any good argumentative expectations for this North American scene going into stage 2, because all the teams that had earned their spot by making playoffs in stage 1 have changed essentially. And then beyond that, the teams that qualified are all also pretty recently put together squads. So it's a lot of learning, a lot of figuring out what happens here in week number 1.
You actually just hit me with a brick wall of craziness. The only team that hadn't changed going in towards Elite number 2 that played for Elite number 1 is Built by Gamers.
UT crew.
But oh, you're right. Yeah, sorry. You're right. Okay. Well, that's fair enough. But even so, I mean, that is big within its own self. Again, this is a very competitive stage 2 that we have across both EU and North America. And it's all a part of this explosion that had been here in North America called Roster Mania, with a whole bunch of swaps, a whole bunch of people either going to the Pro League, team swapping left, right, and center. It always seems that it's coming up all aces for Sib and Jimbo, always swapping out their duo. And it's really working well for them again here with Standy and Dave Patty. We saw them being able to take down a newly reformed Wester, I guess you could call him. Again, that is the old
Sure.
Core 4 from Modern Warfare. But going up against this Easter roster, again, very decorative with their own self. You're playing with a previous champs, Victor of John, and Fella has been playing lights out. Again, that is a sub player for the Dallas Empire for a reason. Tom also had a very good opening hardpoint. They dropped near 34 kills, and that's is almost what you expect from Tom, Mr. Do-It-All Gravity. And when you end up having that presence on the map going in towards control, you really hope that the subs can almost meet it. Same thing for the flex coming out from Fellow, because that was not the case going in towards the first hardpoint, or the hardpoint of Garrison.
Well, we're getting ready to go into the Garrison control here. Beyond that, we also should mention that with that 1-1 map count, that has essentially given us the confirmation that we will see a Moscow hardpoint for map number 4, and Raid would be our search for map number 5. So everyone looks to be ready as we're getting ready to go here for that third map. Again, there's just so much to learn here, I think, overall between all of these squads combined. But in this matchup particularly, the ability, I think, just first and foremost for Easter to come back onto a map, show some round 11 ice after being up in a big way versus Fantastic Four, which comes after the consequence of losing map number 5 to NYSL Academy 1-6 on the same map mode combo. Definitely required, I would say, if you don't want to have to lose full here. And Fantastic Four coming off their 3-0 win versus Wester. They've only dropped 3 total maps, now 4 total maps through 4 total series. So, I mean, they've been really lights out so far. We'll see if they could maybe try to build on that and stay flawless. I think that there's only one other team in Europe that's flawless right now. So
Passion. Yep.
Yeah, challengers across the board in both regions has been very hotly contested thus far. But enough filling, enough vamping. Let's get into it. Garrison control loading up on our screens here for map number 3. And for Fantastic Four, this is a rehit. This is the map that they've played in every single series so far. And every single time they've played it, it's come out with a W in their favor. Looking to continue that trend here with their 4th series.
So even if not here, right, put yourself in the shoes of Easter. You have to take a respawn off of this Fantastic Four roster. And again, looking at the tail of the tape, the head-to-head between these two teams, again, not a lot of disparity. I mean, yes, a better overall for control and search and short for Fantastic Four, but even still off of the very small sample pool, this Fantastic Four on respawn have been playing lights out. Again, the phrase that we ended up saying coming off of that match versus Wester is that these 4 players look like they've been playing together for over a year. And that blind trust really came through in that offensive round win to close out that Garrison control versus Wester. Now, Easter, again, they got to be able to close out a respawn. If not this control, it's got to be the hard point, but maybe they might be able to make some magic happen here.
Fantastic Four will start on the offense. Good start for them so far as they find themselves a handful of members on this B zone. Jared tries to make it a little bit more difficult as he contests for a small time through lights. Fellow streaking across the square, also going to find absolutely nothing, and Easter are going to have to chalk this because if you look at your minimap, Dave is already on A and Jimbo easier to help. So this is going to be a lot of pressure on Easter immediately. They need to make a decision on what's going to happen here. Jimbo has found 2 kills already, and Standy cleaning up the final member of Easter over by B means that you've got nearly 2 minutes to play with and already a tick of progress at the A site.
If the 3 players are here, there's only one that has to rotate. Sandy's going to hit this through the main doors, but you saw that presence over by the A zone. Contested for the time being, Sib down to 14 HP. No reinforcements here, but still halfway towards the 3rd tick. Easter, they got to get Sib off of this heady. They will be able to do so, but that's the old ways of Fantastic Four. The offensive push, 3 players up towards top green. You got the blind trust in the middle of the map. It goes in their favor. And now look at the win conditions through the roof to the moon for Fantastic Four. 7 life lead for them. 1 tick of progress needed and 1:25 left to play, Alan.
And Gravity's about to be caught from behind. The threat from Fantastic Four to the middle of the map, very much so established, but big win right there from John to clear some of the space up. Sib has made his way onto the A site, gets a read on where John is positioned, and thankfully Jimbo was there for help because John almost completely styled on him. But you have to go back, I think, first and foremost, to the fact that Easter never made a decision. When there was a 3rd tick of progress on the way, you had one member still lingering to try to late contest the B zone, and that means that you're shorthanded to clear off the 2 members that are at A initially. That is just a complete lack of commitment that ends up becoming punished immediately.
It just makes the push so much more potent, especially with what Fantastic Four wanted off the first break. Top green, middle of the map. Given where Easter were looking initially, it just goes all haywire. And again, I talked about this in the win over Western, and I'll say it one more time. That's what it looks like when you win the first break off convincingly from Fantastic Four. Even more so, they won the second one as well. So now Easter, they have no choice shift. They gotta win an offensive round, and these first few kills are not looking too good for them.
Not at all. Essentially stuck in their spawn. You have to clear out this dark alley. It has to be step number 1. And Gravity with an AR, very wise to check the tight corner. Jerd also able to help. So there's the clearance that you're required. But now you still have to deal with members for Fantastic Four who could potentially finesse in the middle of the map. And is there anyone better than finessing than maybe Standy? He's going to stay alive through the floating tank. There is some progress being made over by A, but Standy's on 3 in a row. 8-3 start for the kid. Jimbo now trying to pinch from behind. He will be shut down. So again, good exits here from Easter. That'll likely get him a 2nd tick of progress here in the B zone before Fantastic Four can largely contest. And well, with Fellow finding a couple more, that's actually not just going to be a 2nd tick. It's going to be the entire zone.
Now Fellow on 3 straight, 5 and 7. B zone will be fully captured. Top green will be Jimbo, potentially waiting for a threat to come on through. Actually doesn't get tagged by that nade. Challenges John. There's one more player on the pop-up. Does not actually go that way. And it's going to be all cobble control that Easter would really love for Fantastic Four. And one of these opening kills would be good if they would be convincing, but it's not good so far. So now back to the drawing board. 1:30 left to play, and lives are pretty even. So as long as Easter can slow down the pace coming off this respawn shift, they could give themselves a real good shot over towards the
A lot of time to play with, but not a lot of space to play with.
Right.
They really have not gone back in the middle of the map largely whatsoever. Long-range shots from Jimbo, eventually good enough for a kill. And Sib will be there. Oh my goodness, what a transfer that was. Nearly gets the secondary snap onto Gravity, but there will be a trade. But trades are not going to be good enough for Easter as they're still working on a spawn. Jimbo thinks he's got the jump on one. The snap around nearly... Oh my goodness, almost lost my lid there, but Fantastic Four, regardless of those interesting engagements, still hold the favor defensively with this forward zone.
I thought we were gonna have ourselves another snapperdoodle-doo instance, but not yet. Maybe sometime soon. Maybe still tonight. There's still a few maps that have to be played, but Easter got 30 seconds left to play, and like you said, I mean, they had the time, but they didn't have the space. That space has to be confirmed via the kills coming out of your spawn. Now we're down to 22 seconds. Jimbo's gone rogue. There's good help here. Clean kill feed for Fantastic Four, and Easter just stands no shot of getting out of their spawn going forward.
Well, here we go. Jimbo just farming lives. 4 more lives remaining for Easter. They really can't do anything besides just trying to trade and marginalize this life differential, but they're not going to expect Sib in the back. That's good for 4. Nearly predicted what would have been an easy 5th, but regardless, doesn't make much of a difference. They find themselves up 2-0. And from what we've seen so far, I mean, it just feels like there was not enough blue presence in the middle of the map, both offensively and defensively in the first 2 rounds.
No, there's really just no immediate answer. No real care at all for whether you're looking at the suspended tank, whether you're thinking about catwalk control. All for Easter's perspective, it seems like they just want to be able to try to break it through the front, just like a bull, just break it on down. It's just not working in their favor. And maybe against a few other teams that they might have played, it might have been able to work. But I mean, again, this Fantastic Four roster, they have such a deep understanding of power positions and where to be at a certain instance of time. But Easter, now they got to start a reverse sweep here in control. They need a strong defense here. Fantastic Four in the previous offense, they've all 3 players popped up top green. This time around, they don't do any of that. Again, they just want this middle of the map, and it seems to be going their way.
Yeah, I mean, it almost feels like at a certain point, Fantastic Four believe there's a C zone, and it's in the middle of the map. because they're just always floating around tanks top this bridge area. I mean, even right now, I mean, they're on the offense, but just look at the control they're trying to gain from playing inside mid-map. It's just been so diligent. I mean, there hasn't been an opportunity for the SMGs for Easter to do anything. I mean, Jerd's 7 and 13 and John is 4 and 16, but the reason is because they haven't been able to work any flanks. They're trying to play SMGs from the outsides of the map, and that's not where you want to have a 74U. Eventually, Fantastic Four will step onto the B zone. 1 tick of progress near confirmed, but not fully as of yet. And Jerd will clear some space to allow some depletion of that progress, meaning that Easter's defense only needs to kill another 35 seconds off the clock.
I even just look from top to bottom. I mean, the only players that are in double digits for Easter are their AR players, essentially. And Gravity, the only one positive. 14 and 10, Fantastic Four. Beautiful from top to bottom. 16 and 8, 16 and 9, respectively, for Dave and Standy. And here comes the last initial hit to try to get over towards the B zone. Easter finally looking like they might be able to get themselves on the board. Fantastic Four, they're threatening to be able to take this B zone.
You got to keep an eye on Jerd. He's in the middle of the map when he could foil this play completely. He does get dealt with, but time becoming a bit of a problem. 15 seconds left to go. Gravity in the middle, all the way in the back, able to find 1 elimination, and the trade of these Semtexes will likely mean that Fantastic Four will have to either desperately push on or just give up. But actually, hold on a second. Standy has worked his way over to A. He can kill this clock for what will, I imagine, will feel like almost forever while the rest of his team are still trying to play around the B zone. But Jerd, holding strongly by himself, has other things in mind. And as they finally deal with Standy on the A zone, the lives are becoming a bit of a problem, but the clock stalls at 3 seconds.
Still 2 of 3, like a handful more opportunities coming through for Fantastic Four. You got help here. Jibbo's inside of lights. I think Easter just might give this up. You don't want to give up too many lives, so he's trying to take this one back. And here's 1 tick of progress over towards A. 2nd tick comes through by B. Fantastic Four fighting in the middle of the map. Here comes John for the recontest. He can find this kill. He's able to find it. Turns around. Jimbo's going to be able to get the trade, and that's going to be the B zone secured.
It doesn't matter what happens with this B zone because all the members that were trying to chalk B and set up on the top of the green area over in the tower towards A got dealt with by Civ. So now you have progress already being made over towards the A zone, an extra bit of time to play with, and Fantastic Four have a life lead. Standing for 3 in a row, he's 21 and 11 for crying out loud, and all of a sudden it comes down to Jerd again. He will fall. 2nd tick of progress, a sure thing. And somehow, some way, Fantastic Four have been allowed to stack. 1 more potential defensive retake, but there's only 2 lives available. Now it's just down to John. You want to earn a CDL spot, make this play happen. He's done well. He's able to find 3 straight. Down to a 1v2 for John. Plenty of time here for Fantastic Four to work with, and they're going to slip right underneath John. How do you play this retake? There's going to be 2 members inside of tires, and John can choose to try to flank behind this or play from top green. He's going to have to make the decision quickly. Not going to get Dave up top, and Fantastic Four with 3 seconds left. They take the B zone, barely survive into like a 7v2, and they 3-0 the control.
Oh, yeah, that got close. John had a real good go at things. I think they might have just been hearing you in real time right there, Shift. I know we got to delay on the stream. He's like, you want to make a CDL spot potentially happen, make this play happen. They almost end up doing it. They do make the initial play happen, but I tell you, I honestly thought that Easter had that defensive round in their pocket. That was alarming. There was no progress over towards any of the zones. Standy makes a solo play happen over towards A, stops the clock. I honestly thought that John, with that last second contest, was going to be able to get the turnaround, but when all of that was being fought over through the middle of the map, Easter continuously lose 2 lives, another life, and continuously get stampeded down to where Fantastic Four had the life advantage. Easter had no choice. You had to give it up. You had to reinforce the A zone because they were starting to run low on the life disparity. Fantastic Four, they slowed down that pace. They found the necessary kills. With 3 seconds remaining, get that zone captured, an extra 60 seconds come through, and just slowly whittles down Easter on that control. They remain flawless in control alone and on Garrison throughout Elite Stage 2.
It feels like another instance to where defensively, Easter just do not make the decision in time. Are we playing retake or are we chalking?
Yeah.
Not to sit there and say that they were ever really fully committed to playing for the retake, but they don't really clear out that top green area. I mean, Sib getting 2 kills, that just can't happen. That's the entire causeway now opened for the side of Fantastic Four to just easily transition from B to A. And it's the same situation like we had in round number 1, in which, yeah, you've got one member sitting on the B zone, but when you have got 2 more members that can play for A, it doesn't matter what happens on that B zone point at that point in time. You can still stall the clock and find progress on A. So, wow. Nearly fireworks for multiple reasons, but we take a look at our best of 5 map series set here, and we'll find ourselves looking at a Fantastic Four 2-1 advantage. 250-206, map number 1, going the way of Fantastic Four in the Garrison. And after what was a steep lead for Easter, Fantastic Four were able to send it to a round 11 in which they would be cut just a touch short. But a 3-0 here in the Garrison control leads us to a Moscow hardpoint, and one of your big kind of interactions before we got into the control was, if you're Easter, you've got to take a respawn away from this Fantastic Four team. Might be easier said than done.
Yeah, I mean, you might as well turn your name from Fantastic Four to Fantastic Respawn altogether, because I mean, this Fantastic Four team is just I don't know. Low hanging grasp here by Proper. But even still, their respawn has been absolutely lights out, especially coming from their control and going in towards the Moscow hardpoint. I could see how this one might have gone through. I mean, again, very small stat pool to pull from, but Fantastic Four, they have played this map mode once. It was a loss actually versus Subliners Academy, to where they lost by 5 points. That went down to time, 226-221. And Easter, they are 2-0 on Moscow hardpoint altogether with a 100-point club overbuilt by gamers. And they also beat Subliners Academy by 105 points. So, I mean, they feel pretty comfortable on this to be able to go inside this map mode combo. Again, they got to be able to win this respawn to send into a search and destroy on raid, to where you think that they might be able to potentially have it go the distance and maybe walk away with this series win. You know that they would love to have it. Same could be said for Fantastic Four. Again, they are the only undefeated team still standing in North America right now. And to be able to solidify yourself on that pedestal alone going in towards week number 2, that could be big.
Other updates here as we start to vie for the first hard point. Wester have 3-0'd Aerial Arise. Built by Gamers have also found a 3-0 versus higher. And then the only other update that we could provide is the UT Crew versus Subliners Academy. That one currently 1-1. I have to imagine that the mainstream will be picking up that action from map 3 on. So if you're looking for that matchup, you head over to youtube.com/HODChallenges. But for our focus here, it's Fantastic Four. Another nice early exchange, never relinquishing the P2 side of the map so far, and they've already generated 15 seconds with the time on the first hill.
So would love to push all the way through to break up the spawns for P2. You need the reinforcements contesting it, at least from multiple angles, will be Fantastic Four. Player number 6, Gravity, will try to make the play happen. P1 being controlled by Easter, and where Tom was located at means that 3 players for Fantastic Four, they will spawn north to south of the reinforcements of Easter down by the boulevard. So once P2 pops, Easter will be here for the initial time.
Sure, he's got a little bit of trigger discipline coming through. Sees Sib, but never in a million years would have expected Dave to be right underneath him. Nearly stomped his toes on the way over the top of the window. And with this, Easter are going to be contested here on the second hardpoint after a late flip and the spawns comes through. They're not actually able to gain any space. And how about the feed for Fantastic Four? They get essentially a full-on wipe, and with that, they've reclaimed the coveted P2 spawns and also top police station. Sib, oh boy, lots of help coming through, but you feel like that pistol would have been good enough for a second kill as well.
Yeah, it sure would have been. So nice 50-50 over by P2. It means that Fantastic Four will be able to extend their lead past 50 points if they soak up the back 11 seconds. Over by P3 we go. And look at the spread for Easter. They're expecting a hit come through from Gold. Jerd will be there, not looking at the angle of which stand he guns them down from. Across will be set up over by the bank side. That's going to be Fellow. Is going to play a key role to shutting down this push coming from Fantastic Four.
Well, Dave on a handful straight. Going to make the play through bank as mentioned. Could put Easter in a bit of a bunker down situation. Standy catches John trying to open up space through the back alleys. Could he get more? No, not going to be the case. It's Jerd who picks things up in the first 20 seconds. Will be confirmed from Easter. Big 1v1 here. Jerd, nice snap on. Gets caught tossing a Semtex though, so Sib will keep the play alive for Fantastic Four as he will find a couple of kills. Teammates still on their way through the gold alley, but it just comes down to Standy, last one left alive, and he will not be allowed to recover from the initial set of the play. And that will mean that the next hit for Fantastic Four will likely have to be a focus over towards the fourth hardpoint, as Easter have nearly found a full 60.
And that was a very solid hardpoint from Easter. Not a full 60, but a very good hardpoint to answer back to the strong break that Fantastic Four set over by P2. Last little battle for 5 seconds. Easter will be able to control it. Now over by the boulevard we go. Gravity is here first. Player number 1 of Day Patty will be holding the heady right over by the globe. Gravity would love to get inside this bus and start mowing down players, but Fantastic Four, they will be here for the initial setup, and Jimbo is streaking inside of gold. They will pop out. They found 3, and now on 4 straight.
It's a really nice kind of negotiation of this first rotation overall for both of our teams. Really good decision making coming through, recognizing where your advantages are versus where your kind of shortcomings would maybe lie. Jimbo on 5 in a row looking for 6, but Jerd shakes hands a little bit more strengthily than Jimbo would have liked as he gets the shot punch off. And Easter now an opportunity to turn this into some hard point time halfway through the 4th hill. Fantastic Four trying to set up for a bit of a wrap as they've got players from the front and players hitting the flank simultaneously. John can make things safe from the back, but his teammates have fallen in front of him, so it'd have to be down to John to find more action. But again, with only a little bit of scrap time to fight for, he'll say, I'm good, thanks very much. I'll just go on over to the checkers.
Yeah, 2-second lead now for Fantastic Four going inside of a new set of hills. Competitive battles, a break 50-50 over by P2, solid hold over by P3 for Easter. Now inside the second set of hills. Good job from Dave. Actually hits it all the way over by P2. Gets a spawn in by Standy. Now they love to battle over inside top green. And Jerd will just end up breaking the nose of Standy. Clean kill feed coming through from Easter. And that'll force all Fantastic Four to spawn over by the Boulevard side. And this is all happening while Easter is still soaking up time on P1.
Big, heavy commitment to the rotation. Overall, Jerd says no, not at all. Finds 4 in a row, shuts down the Boulevard play, but even with that, Fantastic Four still find a way to luckily spawn around the back. But I say that with a lot of hesitance because still, Easter on the hard point have found the better part of the opening 40 seconds, and they still have members that can contest against this play, wrapping for Fantastic Four. This is a hell of a commitment. It almost feels like Lemmings in like off a cliff right now. Everyone allergic to the hard point. They're just trying to play the OEs, and Easter have done very well to keep contesting the plays in the flanks while still simultaneously finding a lot of time on the hard point.
Yeah, so now they will be there for the initial time. Clean kill feed. Jerd, another play in front of him. Jimbo will get traded on out. First 20 seconds, damn near guaranteed here for Easter over by P2. Got a pretty strengthy setup. Gravity's in a great spot to read the players coming out from Metro is good for 2. How about number 3? Absolutely. Mr. Tom Do-It-All Gravity is now on a 5 spree, 15-9 for them. 30 seconds going over towards Easter, and well, Fantastic Four, you got to be careful. If you commit to this one more time and you're successful, Easter will spawn out, and you got to rotate all the way across the map.
That just felt like a backwards amount of focus. Fantastic Four, with time still remaining on the first hard point and a lot of time remaining on the first hard point, kept flooding on the OEs. That's how you want to try to flip spawns around, and then their one attempt to try to break the second hard point is through the middle, where you want to be trying to hit through the apartments. It just feels like a bit of miscoordination there. Rare to say for a team like Fantastic Four, but Easter are happy to soak up the kills. And with that, over the last 3 hard points, this has been about like an 80 to 20 point game. I mean, they have done so well in these last 3 hills, and they have an opportunity to contest the rotation going over to the library. You're going to have Fantastic Four here first, and there's potential for a pinch to come through, but the kills are nowhere to be found. Jimbo has to go big, but finds absolutely nothing, and that is a clean break for Easter. That's going to be 4 solid hard points in a row, pending they can hold this next attempt.
What a push for a unique pinch that came out from Bank Johns now on 4 straight. The setup is here over inside of Fountain. Fantastic Four, they got to break it through the staircase. Player number 2 of Sandy will be here contesting the time. Nice little slide challenge to take down Jerd. So close spawns inside the library, so it's a handful more gunfights that Fantastic Four got to win, but Gravity off spawn's gonna have headies and set Semtex's galore. And Easter, they win the battle for the scrap time. They will marginally be at the 200-point threshold. Fantastic Four, they got to get a strong setup of new.
Oh my goodness, they need to get a strong setup of something, anything. This has been nearly a full rotation, all of it enjoyed by Easter, and Sib is going to get caught as Jerd comes right through gold. No one was contesting it whatsoever, and well, caught with the Semtex, he'll eventually fall. So Fantastic Four, if they were to break through this hard point, it would be by way of some gold pressure mixed in with the bank spawns that they currently hold. But John is trying to clear some of that space up. Misses the shots, but lands the punch, so Jimbo will eventually get the kills. Fellow trying to make something happen, but he also drops, and that will mean that the Fantastic Four have successfully broken into the hard point for now.
Maybe you want to get all this time. You would love to be able to, but easier said than done when you have Easter threatening it from the side and also inside of gold. You also got spawn-ins coming over by P3 for Easter. Spawns out for Fantastic Four. They got to contest it. They need this time more than Easter do, even though it's scrap. Fantastic Four are reeling. They are down by a solid 100 points.
And it's not a good decision to be made here for Fantastic Four. You really can't commit numbers to getting over to the 4th hard point, because then you'll be lacking over towards the 1st hard point. So They essentially weigh their options and they decide to favor the setup for the first hard point. But there is a player all the way around the back injured, as you saw him for a moment, trying to make things interesting, and no one's going to expect it. There's the first kill onto Dave. Second, no, not going to be there. Standy, nice response. Down to 15 HP will, I'm sure, eventually be dealt with here, but he's got some good help. The regen comes out, but still, it's Gravity that gets the better of him. Sib trying to finesse his life, has to YY the reload, and very well to do so as he finds elimination and makes sure that Fantastic Four can continue to battle for this first hill.
Yeah, they're still battling. They're keeping contested. 24 seconds are all Easter need to close out this map. Over by P2 is where we will be focusing the rotation, but still 25 seconds remaining inside of P1. You can see how Fantastic Four are playing it out. Always worrying about that threat. Jimbo inside of the hardpoint will be able to find a nice cross angle over by Fellow inside the courtyard. Easter spotting over by P4. They're going to fit this over by the boulevard. Dave is going to go down. They will read this, but reinforcements in the setup has got to be here. Fantastic Four, they got to deny Easter's push.
It comes down to Sib. Good help from Standy to find the first. Do they recognize that John's also there? Sure, he's throwing a handful of elbows. And that will mean that Fantastic Four will commit another defensive member here to try to keep this play safe. And Jimbo does find that first elimination. Everything from Easter was banking on a play through the boulevard. But John keeps the play alive off screen for 2. Now we turn to Standy's attention. He's going to have teammates spawn on top of him. Long-range shots onto Gravity are good. Hold on a second. This break attempt for Easter is becoming weakened by the minute as there are no kills to speak of. Fellow up top has made his way through lobby, but he will not be able to stay alive. Jimbo into the hard point, deals with Gravity. 28 seconds to play for, and Easter have to make a decision. Do we commit for a break, or do we chalk and rotate? And well, the decision may have just been made for them as Dave and Standy find 2 more kills.
And look at Sib. Sib's already on the rotation. He's past gold. He's in the alleyway. Big kill onto John, but that's a position that's going to be more than known. Another one on a Fellow. We'll get the trade, but now here comes Fantastic Four. They're on the rotation coming on through. John actually spawns all the way out by police station, and there's no way that Dave Patty's going to be able to read this. Standy gets some kills. More than need be is inside of library. That's going to force all of Easter to spawn out. P3 will pop, and Fantastic Four, they will be here.
They're going to play for spawns first. This is the right decision. Gravity, they know he's over by the bank. Semtex will get the kill. Now you turn your attention to the front. Easter cannot make a play through middle. They're only focused over towards the outside staircase. Not where you really want to be. 1v1 off screen is also won by Fantastic Four as Sid makes the flank save. So now the only hit for Easter is from the front. Gravity and Fellow trying to do what they can. Dave on 3 in a row, but it's Fellow with the heroics, and that last kill was enough to supplant Fantastic Four from spawning in the back. 234 to 212. Kills and numbers are good for Easter, and they can still win it here. So for Fantastic Four, it's going to have to be on Jimbo to work from the front or Standy to work from the backside by escalators. The kills are not convincing as of yet. 245, just 5 more seconds to go. Sib trying to keep the play alive, but cannot touch in time. Easter survive, and I say that selectively, 250 to 212.
Guaranteeing us a map 5 between these two teams. I said that they gotta win a respawn off of this Fantastic Four team for Easter to get it to a map 5. Here we are, Shift, and wow, it came down to that break. You talked about heroics for Fellow from the front side. That was a crazy resurgence inside that last set of hills coming from Fantastic Four. From 1 to be able to hold on to the P2 spawns all the way through to shut down 3 different dynamic pushes. The way that Easter were trying to work their way inside the spawns just to close out the dang game. They made it all the way to P3, and even if Fantastic Four held there, we would have gone to P4, and where Sid was playing at was going to be able to hold the rotation. Good thing that Fellow was able to break it from the front, because I'm sure a lot of Easter members, and even Coach Phoenix is probably sitting there sweating and reeling that's how it ended up coming down. But you were guaranteeing us the map 5, and honestly speaking, Shift, it's just so poetic to be able to see it close out here on Raid Search and Destroy between these.
It's the Fellow final spree from Eskies. That last kill onto Dave was the last member alive from Fantastic Four. And as he falls, Easter spawns up. That's just, oh man, the timing of that
They were
moment.
holding the kill cam too, which was the bigger part about that. When the entire swap was happening, they just sat there, held the kill cam, the trust to be able to win that gunfight, and they all just spawn in. I mean, that entire map got closed out within about 3 seconds. That was wild. What a gunfight.
So it's a map 5 search and destroy. If we could take a look back at our full 5-map series sequence here. Again, it was a very, very good performance coming off the Garrison control from the side of Fantastic Four. But it does get cut short in their comeback effort on the Moscow hardpoint. It was a round 11 in which Easter were actually forced to ice up after being up 5-2. It gets sent to a round 11, and They fortunately were able to take that one to and get to this point in the series, because otherwise it would have been a 3-0, obviously. And so the Raid Search and Destroy coming up next, and kind of speaking on to what these teams have been able to do on a Raid Search and Destroy. There's not a lot of statistics to go through, but Fantastic Four able to find themselves a round 10 6-4 win when they played up against UT Crew, built by gamers, was the victims of Easter in their first overall match here in stage 2 that they were able to win 6-3. So again, a lot of back and forth here, not a lot of a sample size to go off of. But one of the things that I think we can go ahead and figure is that Fantastic Four, they are going to largely try to play through the middle of the map. And it just comes down, will Easter allow that to happen and have responses for it? Or will they try to continue to contest that early on? Because that map pressure we already saw was so important to Fantastic Four.
Yeah, and you go back to that Checkmate Search and Destroy if you want to know any like parallels that you might be able to be worried about going in towards the Search and Destroy for raid if you are a fan of this Fantastic Four roster, was that Jimbo dropped a big old goose egg as far as kills are concerned. I'm sure their EKIA probably looked entirely different, where Sib went absolutely AWOL. They found 7 first bloods, and even in a map loss, that's still impressive. But you got to think that this might play in towards a favor of which Fantastic Four can feel a little bit more comfortable. I'm talking 2-2 setups, 3 SMGs, 1 QBZ from Dave.
Yeah.
This can get absolutely hectic very fast. And that's the same thing that we ended up seeing in the early stages of that hardpoint on Garrison that really kept the Easter on their back foot. They were not expecting all of that SMG presence. Of course, you cannot do that same sort of magic on Checkmate Search and Destroy, but it can exist here on Raid, man. It can exist. And of course, through the middle of the map, SMGs can make their presence felt. And over through these open angles, top bedroom included, ARs, QBZ, Krig 6, I don't care. Those long sightlines can be first-blooded.
Well, we mentioned it. Fantastic Four love to play in the middle of the map, and look where Jimbo has already freed himself up to be.
Waiting.
And I think the question is, if Easter are going to allow this to happen, you have to have responses to isolate these players from middle. So this would have to be the question in consideration for what looks to be an A hit, of which Jerd actually does get caught out by a flash. So that's going to make life a little bit more difficult for Easter to get things going. Patience across the board, 50 seconds to go, and this is going to be just them wrapping around trying to find a first blood before they make a commitment.
Information's going to be found. Jerd will be tagged via 2 Semtexes. Well, you're down to 40 seconds. You would love the commitment to go over towards A. Not unless off-screen. Well, now on-screen. Fellow does find Sandy. That's first blood, so that could open up the B side. Yeah, look at the mini-map. Bomb carrier Jerd is rotating all the way through spawn. They want to try to commit towards this B site, but it is a moment too late. Maybe not, as John takes down Jimbo mid-map.
It's a big timing kill for John, even getting some spam shots through the woodwork onto Sib, and meanwhile, Fellow has just solo pushed through.
Wow.
And that's what I mean. When I'm talking about being able to isolate the middle of the map, yeah, it's an important place to get to rotationally, but if you're able to find some freedom to move through an OE, specifically through that top statue side for Fellow's instance there, that means that those players in the middle of the map are almost trapped there. And that's what it definitely felt like. And again, blessed COD timing for John to find the kill as it was coming forward to him through Zig.
Also got to think that that push through might have been happening through Zig or even over by Kondo if Fellow loses that gunfight. Not going to be the case for them. Winning that round with just about 15 seconds remaining. Fantastic Four looking to answer back on their own offense. Would love this B site. Middle of the map isn't going to be immediately pushed through. Dave Patty's just waiting outside of right, or actually inside of it in case a push ends up coming all the way through. Jerd will be tagged through the middle of the map. He's going to have to give up that position for the time being. Fantastic Four trying to work this site.
John is continuing to check over through Zig. Defensively, Easter are stacking towards the B side. They've predicted correctly. And John finding 1 kill is fine. 1 for 1 is totally all right. And Easter, I don't know if they're just thinking, we will just overwhelm the backplay and rotate to A collectively, or do they know the bomb is being planted? Well, it doesn't make a difference because the kills come through so darn cleanly, leaving Standy for a 1v3. Fellow will jump for a defuse. Jerd watching over the top, Gravity literally on top of the bomb site itself. That'll be enough. And now a decision as far as who wants to be given this defusal to possibly work for streaks.
Gravity and Fellow, huh? Honestly, I would give it a Gravity, but last time we said that, they didn't give it a Gravity. And Jerd just died. So it ends up coming to B. Yeah, it's going to be Gravity that ends up grabbing it. So getting closer and closer, earning those streaks. 2 rounds in. Pretty good for Easter, just answering back every little bit that Fantastic Four are just trying to grasp for. Whether that's middle of the map pressure, getting aggressive over here inside a spiral. Easter just don't care. They're just going to slowly work their way back into these power positions, whether that's middle of the map via open staircase, back inside a laundry, and just start whittling you down and knowing where the post-plant setup could potentially be.
It's just, The commitment, I would be really interested to hear the comms on that. Because once you lose John in the middle of the map, you know that Fantastic Four have a free rotation to A if they want it. But that felt like them saying, let them have A if they do decide to rotate. Otherwise, let's just try to overwhelm them right now in B. And if they're there, great. If not, we can wrap around the back. We can play through open stairs. We can even wrap back through kitchen. There's a lot of opportunities. So I actually really like that commitment from Easter. Would really be curious to see who made that play call. Standy, oh, so much trouble. Semtex to free up John to make the challenge happen. Dave completely caught up a creek without a paddle. And now it's down to a 2v4 Easter all over the B site.
Duo of Jimbo and Sib, what can you do? Jimbo just waiting for their duo of Sib just to work their way through red.
Wow.
Gravity will smoke him. Fellow will find the last kill through the middle of the map. I think it's still just the one kill that Fantastic Four have through these 3 rounds. I was talking about how Fantastic Four were going to be that team, especially on offense, to get aggressive and take the map away quicker than Fantastic Four even knew their positioning to be, rolling off the spawn. But it's actually Easter in that offense that do it first. Gravity on 4 straight, also got the defuse as well, getting closer and closer for those streaks. It's just commanding coming out from Easter. Now on their defense, they have the middle of the map of Fantastic Four. They don't even give it a light of day. They want this B site again.
But Easter have controlled the middle of the map. Information from Jerd. He's just reading players. I think he's at least counted 2 or 3. Semtex is actually pretty well placed. Does touch on to Jimbo. And as Gravity is able to keep the laundry push through safe, now you've got Jerd working for a flank. Fellow and Gravity with ARs working this together. What in the read is that? Fellow on 5 in a row. And Jimbo is able to finally lock down the second full elimination for the side of the Fantastic Four. Beautiful Semtex. Fellow going up the top. Needs to try to clear this with Jordan. Well, maybe they just have. Dave down to just a single shot. Here comes help. John finds the kill. Plenty of time for a defuse. And there have been more rounds that have been played than there are kills for the Fantastic Four. Unbelievable.
That's what I was about to say. They're not even fully averaging a kill per round shift. And that is terrifying. You stop Gravity from getting the streaks, but now Fellow gets the defuses on 5 straight. And again, through the middle of the map, like you said, off of the framework that I gave you at the beginning of the round, not a single light even given from Fantastic Four, apart from maybe top Spiral to look through the middle of the map. Not even a player inside of top red just lurking for the push through. It almost seems that Fantastic Four are scared to challenge Easter going in towards that 4th round, but 4 rounds in, Easter have never looked more dominant through this best of 5 series, even on the day. On the offense we go, Jerd carrying the bomb. They want this A side. This is kind of a replay from their first offense, if you remember. Fellow was able to find a blood over by B. That caused for a rotation, but Easter, they just want to exhaust some time, get some info out from Fantastic Four.
This would be a really interesting commitment, I think, for both sides. I mean, you see Fantastic Four feel very locked down with Dave just over towards the B side. Everything else is in the middle of the map. Jerd considered checking. He looks like he wants to free up John to make a play through, but as Dave over off screen finds the first blood, Jimbo's there to help push through as well. That'll be a second. So finally an opportunity for Fantastic Four to hold some numbers. And a lot of decisions have to be made here as far as how Easter are going to clear. Decent tag through the wall. Jerd commits. And now all of a sudden it's a 2v4 made to a 2v2. Still with 30 seconds to go.
You know, at least it's going to be one player in the middle of the map. Jerd. And you saw Dave Patty try to go for that challenge. Is now inside top red. The rotation's going to come through from B. This is the commitment now. Jerd's going to plant this bomb. Dave in behind, Trigger, Discipline, and all is going to find the first cleanup through the middle of the map. It's going to be good. Fantastic Four finally put themselves on the board.
Okay. A lot of work to be done here.
Yeah.
And even that round did not feel nearly as stable as the numbers would lead you to suggest or anticipate. I mean, you could talk about the KD ratios for Easter all day long. Still waiting for a kill from Sib, but we know what his potential looks like on Search and Destroy. He dropped like 16 kills on the Checkmate with 7 first bloods. Just looking for a way to make that happen again, and maybe through the middle of the map this time. Sib does get blooded, but the kills are still favorable for the Fantastic Four. Beautiful Semtex for Jerd. Essentially plays a little bit of martyrdom there. But in the end, it's still Fantastic Four holding the numbers. 2v1 situation. Fell low. Does find the first. That's the bomb carrier. We'll have an extended 1v1.
So get the info off the flash. Did not reach that far. Dave will collect the bomb. Will go ahead and plant it. A fellow wrapping all the way back from the offensive spawn. But I actually find some timing her to challenge. Sees Dave's cross. It's just gonna chase him down, slow and steady.
But did he go right or did he go left? Now he knows. But the Dave, oh, nearly responded in time. That's a 1v2 technically for Fellow. 7-1. And Easter on match point 5-1 up. They do not want to see a reprisal of what happened in their opening match tonight where they dropped the map 5 in convincing fashion. They say, how about a little bit of us doing that?
And again, you see this hit coming on through. It was Dave that was there to set up, find 2 off the opening break. Again, you do get there first defensively, but don't want to shoot your teammates in the back first, regardless of how it played out. Nice little snap for 2 did open up that round, but you can never count out Fellow when they are working that flank. Whatever weapon they have in hand, Craig, 74U, QBZ, even in this series alone, we've been able to see them really do it all. Now Easter a chance to close out on offense. This is actually going to be a full-on 50-50. One player is missing from this. It will be Sib to start.
Aggression from both sides over towards this B zone. Velo has stayed alive and stayed concealed at least for a time, but eventually his position will be revealed. Fantastic Four looking to put this round to bed as quickly as humanly possible, and they will be successful in that endeavor. And, well, we've been in this situation before, so, I mean, hey, don't rule out the potential of a repeat of what happened in the Checkmate. It was, what, 5-2 in favor of Easter? And that's when Fantastic Four got activated to set it to around 11. And with a quick round like that, it definitely could build some confidence to try to put the same thing in place here on Raid.
One round at a time. That's really all you got. If you're Fantastic Four here in this map 5 versus Easter. One little adaptation at a time. Sib still sitting on a goose egg. Chance to join the agency. Again, that's not necessarily one that you want to join, but one that we'll keep our eyes out for. Still trying to play that role. Just looking through these angles. They will be that sole player over by Zig with the Craig to expect the push to come through. It comes through in a trade, but Sib get the next one, but 2v2 we quickly go.
Gravity going to get caught off here as Standy pushes forward. Pretty fortunate to be alive. Fellow looking for trades. Gets Dave for the first, but Standy around the pillar secures this final kill. That's 2 straight rounds, both in very rapid form for Fantastic Four, and, well, you can definitely tell they're sitting there saying, look, they want to try to finesse us in the back lines. Let's just take the fight to them, and it's worked out pretty nicely so far.
They are fishing for these rounds on very thin ice, though, Shift. Again, any overextension, any unforced error that Easter can gobble up means that it is the end of the series for Fantastic Four. The only team that is still undefeated, but chance to be able to even things up here are their adversaries of Easter, and could honestly mean a lot if it comes down to the head-to-head down the road for these round-robin matchups, but Easter on offense, go back to that round 1 strategy, cause some ruckus over by Ace. Sib will recognize this, throw a couple shots. Won't be good enough for a kill, but information will be there.
Still mid-map pressure for Fantastic Four. Easter fully stacked over for a potential A hit, and the long peek from Gravity outside the windows will be good for first blood onto Sib. He's really returned the favor from the Checkmate, in which Sib held the advantage in the first blood fight versus Gravity. Dave from basketball, trying to be challenged. He does gain some space. Is he going to recognize that Easter's actually still following behind him? No, he will not. Just comes down to Standy. Not going to get the better of Jimbo and Easter. How about it? 6-3. Find themselves the map 5 win, and now all of a sudden there is not a flawless team left in the North American Challenger Stage 2.
And that opens things up here for North America. Very open door for that first place, and all the way down for the potential qualification to make yourself inside that elimination bracket. But I mean, Shifts between what you can consider the top 4 teams in this Elite Stage 2, it's still a very big toss-up with what we saw from Fantastic Four's first match. Easter coming in here, being able to beat Fantastic Four. Subliners looked a whole lot better on the mainstream as well. It's such a toss-up, but I mean, between these 2 teams, you're more than likely going to see a whole lot more of them as Elite 2 continues.
Unbelievable. So many things have already changed storyline-wise just in this matchup. Not let alone some of the other results that we had on the day. Speaking of which, we'll give you guys some of those updates. Wester, as mentioned before from the mainstream, did find a 3-0 victory versus Aerial Arise. Built by Gamers did the same, a full 3-0 sweep versus Higher. Still no reported 4th map score between Subliners Academy and UT Crew, but last it was reported NYSL was up 2-1 against UT Crew. Then obviously this one here goes 5, but comes up in favor of Easter. Unbelievable day. I mean, absolutely unreal. It puts the standings in pretty big shambles overall. Wester losing opening the day. I don't really have a full update as far as what the standings completely look like at the moment. COD Gamepedia not fully updated as of yet, but nobody's flawless anymore. I believe that means that there should still be about a three-way tie up top, if not maybe even more than that, because Built by Gamers went flawless today. So if I'm not mistaken, between Easter, Wester, Fantastic Four, and Built by Gamers,
All
I
2 and
think
1.
all of them are at 3-1.
3 and 1. Yep. Yep. Yeah, you would be right. I mean, we
Wow.
don't have the. Yep. Yeah, that's. And then the other teams. I mean, you got Subliners Academy that hopefully going to be able to inch their way back. But again, that opens things up going in towards week number 2. What do you have to learn from? Because there's a lot of matchups that still have to happen that could really upset this 4-way tie that you still have between Built by Gamers, Fantastic Four, Wester, and
Right.
Easter. That could really shake up the framework for those first and second spot going in towards the end of the round robin matches.
Indeed. Hey, I know a lot of people are going to try to get away, but before you do, don't go anywhere. Because, well, actually, you're going to need to go somewhere. Coming up in just a moment here, we'll be going into the Diffuse, a little bit of an ESPN-style talk show going over everything Call of Duty news related. Visions and I will be on for episode 11, and that will be happening on my personal Twitch at twitch.tv/IHoldShift. Give me some time to update the score ticker and some topics and things of that graphically, and we'll be live to give you some of the breakdowns, some thoughts, not only over challenges, but also over what we think of the group selections. And then beyond that, if you're not already subscribed here to this channel or the main channel for youtube.com/COD Challengers, go ahead and do that, because next week it'll be the trio of myself with Infinity and Visions that will be covering the main channel overall, and we'll do what we can. We might actually still run this community stream with some other casters that have definitely deserved a chance to cast over some of the best action that we can find here in both Europe and North America. So subscribe along to both spots. Final thoughts though from you, Proper, before we send things away.
I'm honestly just still shook that that with Easter being able to take this series, we don't have a single flawless team. There's only one flawless team between the two different regions. That's going to be Team Passion in Europe right now. This is a very competitive stage too, and which you would almost expect given the roster shakeup across both regions, but even still more so over here in North America, given where Wester are at, Easter being shooken up into the mix, and Fantastic Four looking as dominant as we have probably seen Sib Jimbo since the beginning of Cold War, Sandy and Dave Patty, all the way back from Modern Warfare when they still played from Triumph. That towards the end of week number 2, it's hard to even judge who's going to be the clear-cut favorites to even take away 6th place right now.
Wild scenes, a lot of hot action still to come when it comes to stage number 2. Week 2 will be back Tuesday and Wednesday. Of course, everything going on with the CDL starts with stage 2 tomorrow. A lot of interesting matchups, but we're going to say farewell for now. Hopefully, we'll catch you guys right back over on my Twitch for the Diffuse. But until next time, hope that out there you guys keep holding it down. So long.
Every step you take, attention is left in your wake. Everywhere you see, blinded yet infinitely. The spectrum of a time takes from its shape of